These are the names of the sons of Israel who journeyed to Egypt with Jacob, each man with his family: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah; Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin; Dan and Naphtali, Gad and Asher. In all, 70 souls descended from Jacob and made their home in this new land. Joseph was already there, a figure of power and influence in the Egyptian court. Then Joseph died, along with all his brothers and that entire generation. The Israelites, however, were fruitful and multiplied exceedingly. They prospered and grew strong, filling the land with their numbers. Their presence became a force to be reckoned with. Now a new king arose over Egypt, a pharaoh who knew nothing of Joseph or the debt Egypt owed him. Seeing the burgeoning Israelite population, he turned to his advisors with concern. "Behold," he declared, "the people of the sons of Israel are far too numerous and powerful for us. If we don't act decisively, they will outstrip us completely." He continued, "Come, let us deal shrewdly with them, or they will continue to multiply. And if war breaks out, they might join our enemies, fight against us, and escape from the land altogether, leaving us weakened." So the Egyptians implemented a brutal plan. They appointed taskmasters over the Israelites to oppress them with forced labor. The Israelites were compelled to build storage cities for Pharaoh, Pithom and Ramses, monuments to their enslavement. But the more the Egyptians oppressed them, the more the Israelites multiplied and spread throughout the land. The Egyptians grew increasingly fearful of the sons of Israel, their dread a constant companion. The Egyptians subjected the Israelites to cruel and relentless labor. They made their lives bitter with the toil of mortar and bricks, and with all kinds of field work. Every task was performed under the lash, a constant reminder of their captivity. Then the king of Egypt, in his desperation, turned to an even more sinister solution. His sister, Miriam, stood at a distance, watching anxiously to see what would become of him, her heart pounding with each passing moment. Now the daughter of Pharaoh, Thermutis, came down to bathe at the Nile, attended by her maidens. As she strolled along the riverbank, she spotted the basket among the reeds. Curiosity piqued. She sent her slave woman to retrieve it. When she opened it, she saw the child. He was crying, and the sound pierced her heart. Overcome with pity, she declared, "This is one of the Hebrew children." Then his sister, Miriam, seized the opportunity. Stepping forward, she said to Pharaoh's daughter, "Shall I go and find a nurse for you from among the Hebrew women, so that she may nurse the child for you?" Pharaoh's daughter, moved by compassion, said to her, "Go." So the girl ran and called the child's mother, Jochebed. Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Take this child away and nurse him for me, and I will pay you your wages." So the woman took the child and nursed him, concealing her true identity. And the child grew, nurtured by his own mother, and when he was old enough, she brought him to Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. She named him Moses, saying, "Because I drew him out of the water." Now it came to pass in those days, when Moses had grown up, that he went out to his fellow Hebrews and witnessed their harsh labors, the brutality they endured day after day. He saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew, one of his own brethren. Filled with righteous anger, Moses looked this way and that, and seeing that there was no one around, he struck down the Egyptian and hid his body in the sand, silencing the oppressor. He went out the next day, and behold, 2 Hebrews were fighting with each other. He intervened, saying to the offender, "Why are you striking your companion?" But the man retorted, "Who made you a ruler and a judge over us? Do you intend to kill me as you killed the Egyptian?" Then Moses was afraid, realizing his deed was no longer secret. "Surely the matter has become known," he murmured. When Pharaoh heard about this, he sought to kill Moses, determined to eliminate the threat. But Moses fled from the presence of Pharaoh and settled in the land of Midian, seeking refuge in a foreign land. He sat down by a well, weary and alone. Now the priest of Midian, Reuel, had 7 daughters. They came to draw water and filled the troughs to water their father's flock, performing their daily chores. Then the shepherds came and drove them away, attempting to usurp their place. But Moses stood up and defended them, helping them water their flock, a stranger offering kindness in a hostile land. When they came to their father Reuel, he was surprised. "Why have you come back so soon today?" he inquired. They replied, "An Egyptian rescued us from the shepherds. And what is more, he even drew water for us and watered the flock." So he said to his daughters, "Where is he then? Why is it that you have left the man behind? Invite him to have something to eat," extending hospitality to the weary traveler. And Moses was willing to live with the man, finding solace in their company. Reuel gave his daughter Zipporah to Moses in marriage, sealing their bond. Then she gave birth to a son, and he named him Gershom, for he said, "I have been a stranger in a foreign land." Now it came to pass in the course of those many days that the king of Egypt died. The sons of Israel, still groaning under the weight of their bondage, cried out to God, their pleas rising above the din of their suffering. Their cry for help ascended to God, a testament to their unwavering faith. So God heard their groaning, their desperate cries for deliverance. God remembered his covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the promises he had made to their forefathers. And God saw the sons of Israel in their affliction, and God took notice of them, acknowledging their suffering. Now Moses was pasturing the flock of his father-in-law, Jethro, the priest of Midian, tending to the animals in the vast wilderness. He led the flock to the west side of the wilderness and came to Horeb, the mountain of God, a place of sacred significance. Then the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a blazing fire from the midst of a bush. He looked, and behold, the bush was burning with fire. Yet the bush was not consumed, an impossible sight defying natural laws. So Moses said to himself, "I must turn aside and see this marvelous sight, why the bush is not burning up," drawn by the inexplicable phenomenon. When the Lord saw that he turned aside to look, God called to him from the midst of the bush, "Moses, Moses!" His voice resonated with power and authority. Moses, startled but respectful, answered, "Here I am." And he said, "Do not come near here. Remove your sandals from your feet, for the place on which you are standing is holy ground," commanding reverence in his presence. Then he said, "I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob," identifying himself with their ancestral lineage. Then Moses hid his face, overcome with awe and humility, for he was afraid to look at God, fearing the consequences of gazing upon the divine. And the Lord said, "I have certainly seen the oppression of my people who are in Egypt and have heard their outcry because of their taskmasters. For I am aware of their sufferings," emphasizing his compassion and understanding of their plight. "So I have come down to rescue them from the power of the Egyptians, and to bring them up from that land to a good and spacious land, to a land flowing with milk and honey, to the place of the Canaanite, the Hittite, the Amorite, the Perizzite, the Hivite, and the Jebusite," revealing his plan for their liberation and future homeland. "And now, behold, the cry of the sons of Israel has come to me. Furthermore, I have seen the oppression with which the Egyptians are oppressing them. And now come, and I will send you to Pharaoh, so that you may bring my people, the sons of Israel, out of Egypt," commissioning Moses for his pivotal role in their deliverance. But Moses, overwhelmed by the magnitude of the task, said to God, "Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and that I should bring the sons of Israel out of Egypt?" Doubting his own capabilities. And he said, "Assuredly I will be with you, and this shall be the sign to you that it is I who have sent you. When you have brought the people out of Egypt, you shall worship God at this mountain," reassuring Moses of his unwavering support and providing a tangible sign of his divine mandate. Then Moses, still hesitant, said to God, "Behold, I am going to the sons of Israel, and I will say to them, 'The God of your fathers has sent me to you.' Now they may say to me, 'What is his name?' What shall I say to them?" Anticipating their questions and seeking guidance. And God said to Moses, "I am who I am," revealing his eternal and self-existent nature. And he said, "This is what you shall say to the sons of Israel. I am has sent me to you." God furthermore said to Moses, "This is what you shall say to the sons of Israel. The Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has sent me to you. This is my name forever, and this is the name for all generations to use to call upon me, establishing his identity and providing a name for them to invoke. Go and gather the elders of Israel together and say to them, the Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob has appeared to me, saying, I am indeed concerned about you and what has been done to you in Egypt, instructing him to communicate his concern and awareness of their suffering. So I said, I will bring you up out of the oppression of Egypt to the land of the Canaanite, the Hittite, the Amorite, the Perizzite, the Hivite, and the Jebusite, to a land flowing with milk and honey, reiterating his promise of deliverance and a prosperous future. Then they will pay attention to what you say, and you with the elders of Israel will come to the king of Egypt, and you will say to him, the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, has met with us. So now, please let us go a 3 days' journey into the wilderness, so that we may sacrifice to the Lord our God, outlining their initial request to Pharaoh. But I know that the king of Egypt will not permit you to go except under compulsion. So I will reach out with my hand and strike Egypt with all my miracles which I shall do in the midst of it. And after that he will let you go, foretelling Pharaoh's resistance and God's intervention. I will grant this people favor in the sight of the Egyptians. And it shall be that when you go, you will not go empty-handed. But every woman shall ask her neighbor and the woman who lives in her house for articles of silver and articles of gold and clothing, and you will put them on your sons and daughters. So you will plunder the Egyptians, promising them favor and compensation for their years of servitude. Then Moses, still grappling with doubt, said, what if they will not believe me or listen to what I say? For they may say, the Lord has not appeared to you. Anticipating skepticism and disbelief, the Lord said to him, what is that in your hand? Seeking to address his fears and empower him with divine authority. And he said, a staff. Then he said, throw it on the ground. So he threw it on the ground, and it turned into a serpent, and Moses fled from it, witnessing a miraculous transformation. But the Lord said to Moses, reach out with your hand and grasp it by its tail. So he reached out with his hand and caught it, and it turned into a staff in his hand, restoring it to its original form, so that they may believe that the Lord, the God of their fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has appeared to you, explaining the purpose of the sign. The Lord furthermore said to him, now put your hand inside the fold of your robe. And so he put his hand inside the fold, and when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous like snow, a shocking display of affliction. Then he said, put your hand inside the fold of your robe again. So he put his hand into the fold again. And when he took it out of the fold, behold, it was restored like the rest of his flesh, miraculously healed. So if they will not believe you, nor pay attention to the evidence of the first sign, they may believe the evidence of the last sign. But if they will not believe even these 2 signs, nor pay attention to what you say, then you shall take some water from the Nile and pour it on the dry ground. And the water which you take from the Nile will turn into blood on the dry ground, providing him with multiple signs to convince the Israelites of his divine commission. Then Moses, overwhelmed by his perceived inadequacy, said to the Lord, please, Lord, I have never been eloquent, neither recently nor in time past, nor since you have spoken to your servant, for I am slow of speech and slow of tongue, expressing his lack of confidence in his ability to communicate effectively. But the Lord said to him, who has made the human mouth? Or who makes anyone unable to speak or deaf or able to see or blind? Is it not I, the Lord? Now then go, and I myself will be with your mouth and instruct you in what you are to say. Reminding him of his power and promising to guide his words. But he said, please, Lord, now send the message by whomever you will, desperately seeking to avoid the responsibility. Then the anger of the Lord burned against Moses, his patience wearing thin. And he said, is there not your brother Aaron the Levite? I know that he speaks fluently, and moreover, behold, he is coming out to meet you. When he sees you, he will be overjoyed. So you are to speak to him and put the words in his mouth, and I myself will be with your mouth and his mouth, and I will instruct you in what you are to do. He shall speak for you to the people, and he will be as a mouth for you, and you will be as God to him, and you shall take in your hand the staff with which you shall perform the signs. assigning Aaron as his spokesperson and reiterating the power of the staff. Then Moses departed and returned to his father-in-law Jethro and said to him, "Please let me go, that I may return to my brothers who are in Egypt and see if they are still alive," seeking his blessing before embarking on his mission. And Jethro said to Moses, "Go in peace." Now the Lord said to Moses in Midian, "Go back to Egypt, for all the men who were seeking your life are dead," assuring him of his safety. So Moses took his wife and his sons and mounted them on a donkey and returned to the land of Egypt, a journey back to his people and his destiny. Moses also took the staff of God in his hand, a symbol of divine power. And the Lord said to Moses, "When you go back to Egypt, see that you perform before Pharaoh all the wonders which I have put in your power. But I will harden his heart so that he will not let the people go," forewarning him of Pharaoh's stubbornness and God's plan to demonstrate his power. "Then you shall say to Pharaoh, 'This is what the Lord says, Israel is my son, my firstborn. So I said to you, let my son go so that he may serve me. But you have refused to let him go. Behold, I am going to kill your son, your firstborn," delivering a powerful message and a dire warning. But it came about at the overnight encampment on the way that the Lord met Moses and sought to put him to death, a mysterious and terrifying encounter. So Zipporah took a flint and cut off her son's foreskin and threw it at Moses' feet, performing a ritual act of atonement. And she said, "You are indeed a groom of blood to me," uttering a cryptic phrase. So he left him alone. At that time she said, "You are a groom of blood because of the circumcision," clarifying the significance of the ritual. Now the Lord said to Aaron, "Go to meet Moses in the wilderness," instructing him to reunite with his brother. So he went and met him at the mountain of God and kissed him, a heartfelt reunion after years of separation. Moses told Aaron all the words of the Lord with which he had sent him, and all the signs that he had commanded him to do, sharing his divine encounter and the power bestowed upon him. Then Moses and Aaron went and assembled all the elders of the sons of Israel, gathering the leaders of their people. And Aaron spoke all the words which the Lord had spoken to Moses, relaying God's message of deliverance. He then performed the signs in the sight of the people, demonstrating the power of God. So the people believed, their hearts filled with hope and faith. And when they heard that the Lord was concerned about the sons of Israel, and that he had seen their affliction, they bowed low and worshipped, expressing their gratitude and reverence. And afterward Moses and Aaron came and said to Pharaoh, "Thus says the Lord, the God of Israel, let my people go, that they may celebrate a feast to me in the wilderness," delivering God's command with boldness. But Pharaoh, arrogant and defiant, said, "Who is the Lord, that I should obey his voice to let Israel go? I do not know the Lord, and besides, I will not let Israel go," rejecting God's authority and refusing to comply. Then they said, "The God of the Hebrews has met with us. Please let us go a 3 days' journey into the wilderness, that we may sacrifice to the Lord our God. Otherwise he will fall upon us with pestilence or with the sword," pleading for permission and warning of divine consequences. But the king of Egypt, unmoved by their pleas, said to them, "Moses and Aaron, why do you draw the people away from their work? Get back to your labors," accusing them of disrupting the established order. Again, Pharaoh said, "Look, the people of the land are now many, and you would have them cease from their labors," emphasizing the size of the Israelite population and his perceived threat. So the same day, Pharaoh commanded the taskmasters over the people and their foremen, saying, "You are no longer to give the people straw to make brick as previously. Let them go and gather straw for themselves," increasing their hardship and burden. "But the quota of bricks which they were making previously, you shall impose on them. You are not to reduce any of it because they are lazy. Therefore they cry out, 'Let us go and sacrifice to our God.' Let the labor be heavier on the men, and let them work at it so that they will pay no attention to false words," intensifying their oppression and accusing them of laziness. So the taskmasters of the people and their foremen went out and spoke to the people, saying, "Thus says Pharaoh, I am not going to give you any straw. You go and get straw for yourselves wherever you can find it, but none of your labor will be reduced," reinforcing Pharaoh's cruel decree. So the people scattered through all the land of Egypt to gather stubble for straw, desperately trying to meet their quotas. The taskmasters pressed them, saying, "Complete your work quota, your daily amount," and just as when you had straw, relentlessly demanding the impossible. Moreover, the foremen of the sons of Israel whom Pharaoh's taskmasters had set over them were beaten and were asked, "Why have you not completed your required amount either yesterday or today in making brick as previously?" Punishing them for the people's inability to meet the impossible demands. Then the foreman of the sons of Israel came and cried out to Pharaoh, saying, "Why do you deal this way with your servants? There is no straw given to your servants. Yet they keep saying to us, 'Make bricks,' and behold, your servants are being beaten, but it is the fault of your own people," pleading for relief from the oppressive conditions. But he said, "You are lazy, very lazy. Therefore you say, 'Let us go and sacrifice to the Lord.' So go now and work, for you will be given no straw, yet you must deliver the quota of bricks," dismissing their complaints and reaffirming their oppression. The foremen of the sons of Israel saw that they were in trouble because they were told, "You must not reduce your daily amount out of bricks," realizing the severity of their situation. When they left Pharaoh's presence, they met Moses and Aaron as they were waiting for them, their hopes dashed and their spirits broken. They said to them, "May the Lord look upon you and judge you, for you have made us odious in Pharaoh's sight and in the sight of his servants, to put a sword in their hand to kill us," blaming Moses and Aaron for their increased suffering. Then Moses returned to the Lord and said, "O Lord, why have you brought harm to this people? Why did you ever send me? Ever since I came to Pharaoh to speak in your name, he has done harm to this people, and you have not delivered your people at all," questioning God's plan and expressing his despair. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Now you shall see what I will do to Pharaoh, for under compulsion he will let them go, and under compulsion he will drive them out of his land," reassuring him of his power and ultimate victory. God spoke further to Moses and said to him, "I am the Lord, and I appeared to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob as God Almighty. But by my name, Lord, I did not make myself known to them," revealing his divine name and purpose. "I also established my covenant with them to give them the land of Canaan, the land in which they sojourned," reaffirming his promise. "Furthermore, I have heard the groaning of the sons of Israel but the Egyptians are holding them in bondage, and I have remembered my covenant. Therefore, say to the children of Israel, 'I am the Lord. I will free you from the forced labor of the Egyptians and deliver you from their bondage. With a mighty hand and an outstretched arm, I will redeem you with great acts of judgment. Then I will take you as my own people, and I will be your God. You will know that I am the Lord your God, who brought you out from under the yoke of the Egyptians. And I will bring you to the land I swore to give to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. I will give it to you as a possession. I am the Lord." Moses relayed these divine words to the Israelites, hoping to ignite a spark of hope in their weary hearts. But their spirits were crushed by relentless oppression and bitter despair. The weight of their suffering deafened them to the promise of liberation. Now the Lord spoke to Moses again, urging him to approach Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, and demand the release of the Israelites. "Go," he commanded. "Tell Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to let the children of Israel go out of his land." Moses, burdened by self-doubt, pleaded with the Lord, "If the Israelites themselves won't listen to me, how can I expect Pharaoh to listen? I am but an unrefined speaker, hesitant and clumsy with words." Then the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, entrusting them with a joint mission. He charged them to confront both the children of Israel and Pharaoh, king of Egypt, with the divine command to liberate the Israelites from Egyptian bondage. These are the heads of their ancestral houses. The sons of Reuben, Israel's firstborn, were Hanok, Palu, Hezron, and Carmi. These were the clans of Reuben. The sons of Simeon were Jemuel, Jamin, Ohad, Jachin, Zohar, and Shaul, the son of a Canaanite woman. These were the clans of Simeon. These are the names of the sons of Levi according to their lineages: Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. Levi lived 137 years. The sons of Gershon were Libni and Shimi. according to their clans. The sons of Kohath were Amram, Izhar, Hebron, and Uzziel. Kohath lived 133 years. The sons of Merari were Mali and Mushi. These were the clans of Levi according to their lineages. Amram married his father's sister Jochebed, and she bore him Aaron and Moses. Amram lived 137 years. The sons of Izhar were Korah, Nepheg, and Zikri. The sons of Uzziel were Mishael, Elzaphan, and Sithri. Aaron married Elisheba, daughter of Amminadab and sister of Nahshon, and she bore him Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. The sons of Korah were Assur, Elkanah, and Abiasaph. These were the Korahite clans. Aaron's son Eleazar married one of the daughters of Putiel, and she bore him Phinehas. These are the heads of the ancestral houses of the Levites, according to their clans. These were the same Aaron and Moses to whom the Lord said, "Bring the Israelites out of Egypt by their divisions." They were the ones who spoke to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, about bringing the Israelites out of Egypt. It was the same Moses and Aaron. Now, on the day when the Lord spoke to Moses in the land of Egypt, he reaffirmed his divine authority. "I am the Lord," he declared. "Speak to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, all that I tell you." But Moses, still wrestling with his inadequacy, protested, "I am but a clumsy speaker. How can I possibly expect Pharaoh to listen to me?" Then the Lord reassured Moses, "See, I have made you as God to Pharaoh, and your brother Aaron will be your prophet. You shall speak all that I command you, and your brother Aaron shall speak to Pharaoh that he let the sons of Israel go out of his land. But I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and though I multiply my signs and wonders in the land of Egypt, he will remain defiant. When Pharaoh refuses to listen, I will lay my hand on Egypt and bring out my hosts, my people, the sons of Israel, from the land of Egypt by great acts of judgment. And the Egyptians shall know that I am the Lord when I stretch out my hand against Egypt and bring out the children of Israel from their midst." Moses and Aaron obeyed, carrying out the Lord's instructions precisely. Moses was 80 years old and Aaron 83 when they spoke to Pharaoh. Now the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, giving them further instructions. "When Pharaoh demands a sign or a miracle, tell Aaron to take his staff and throw it down before Pharaoh, and it will become a serpent." So Moses and Aaron approached Pharaoh, and just as the Lord had commanded, Aaron threw his staff down before Pharaoh and his officials, and it transformed into a snake. Then Pharaoh summoned the wise men and sorcerers of Egypt. They too, by their secret arts, performed a similar feat. Each one threw down his staff, and they turned into snakes. But Aaron's staff swallowed up their staffs. Yet Pharaoh's heart remained hardened, and he refused to listen to them, just as the Lord had foretold. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Pharaoh's heart is unyielding. He refuses to let the people go. Go to Pharaoh in the morning as he is going out to the water. Stand by the bank of the Nile to meet him, taking with you the staff that was turned into a snake. Say to him, 'The Lord, the God of the Hebrews, has sent me to you, saying, Let my people go, that they may worship me in the wilderness. But until now you have not listened.' So Aaron stretched out his hand over the waters of Egypt, and the frogs came up and covered the land. But the magicians also used their secret arts to bring frogs up on the land of Egypt. Then Pharaoh summoned Moses and Aaron and said, 'Plead with the Lord to take the frogs away from me and my people, and I will let your people go to offer sacrifices to the Lord.' Moses replied, 'As you wish, I will intercede for you, your officials, and your people, that the frogs may be removed from you and your houses and be left only in the Nile.' 'Tomorrow,' Pharaoh said. Moses said, 'It will be as you say, so that you may know there is no one like the Lord our God. The frogs will leave you and your houses, your officials, and your people. They will remain only in the Nile.' Then Moses and Aaron left Pharaoh, and Moses cried out to the Lord about the frogs he had brought on Pharaoh. And the Lord did what Moses asked. The frogs died in the houses, in the courtyards, and in the fields. They were piled into heaps, and the land reeked of them. But when Pharaoh saw that there was relief, he hardened his heart and would not listen to Moses and Aaron, just as the Lord had said. Then the Lord said to Moses, 'Tell Aaron, Stretch out your staff and strike the dust of the ground. And the dust throughout the land of Egypt will become gnats. They did this, and when Aaron stretched out his hand with his staff and struck the dust of the ground, gnats came on people and animals. All the dust throughout the land of Egypt became gnats. The magicians tried to produce gnats by their secret arts, but they could not. So there were gnats on people and animals, and the magicians told Pharaoh, "This is the finger of God." But Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and he would not listen to them, just as the Lord had said. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Get up early in the morning and confront Pharaoh as he goes to the water and say to him, 'This is what the Lord says. Let my people go, so that they may worship me. If you do not let my people go, I will send swarms of flies on you and your officials, on your people and into your houses. The houses of the Egyptians will be full of flies, and even the ground where they are. But on that day I will deal differently with the land of Goshen, where my people live. No swarms of flies will be there, so that you will know that I, the Lord, am in this land. I will make a distinction between my people and your people. This sign will occur tomorrow." And the Lord did this. Dense swarms of flies poured into Pharaoh's palace and into the houses of his officials. Throughout Egypt the land was ruined by the flies. Then Pharaoh summoned Moses and Aaron and said, "Go, sacrifice to your God here in the land." But Moses said, "That would not be right. The sacrifices we offer to the Lord our God are detestable to the Egyptians. And if we offer sacrifices that are detestable in their eyes, will they not stone us? We must take a 3-day journey into the wilderness to offer sacrifices to the Lord our God, as he commands us." Pharaoh said, "I will let you go to offer sacrifices to the Lord your God in the wilderness, but you must not go very far. Now pray for me." Moses answered, "As soon as I leave you, I will pray to the Lord, and tomorrow the flies will leave Pharaoh and his officials and his people. But let Pharaoh not be deceitful anymore and keep the people from going to offer sacrifices to the Lord." Then Moses left Pharaoh and prayed to the Lord. And the Lord did what Moses asked. The flies left Pharaoh and his officials and his people. Not a fly remained. But this time also Pharaoh hardened his heart and would not let the people go. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Go to Pharaoh and say to him, 'This is what the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, says. Let my people go, so that they may worship me. If you refuse to let them go and continue to hold them back, the hand of the Lord will bring a terrible plague on your livestock in the fields, on your horses, donkeys, camels, cattle, and sheep. But the Lord will make a distinction between the livestock of Israel and that of Egypt, so that no animal belonging to the Israelites will die.'" The Lord set a time and said, "Tomorrow the Lord will do this in the land." And the next day the Lord did it. All the livestock of the Egyptians died, but not one animal belonging to the Israelites died. Pharaoh investigated and found that not even one of the animals of the Israelites had died. Yet his heart was unyielding and he would not let the people go. Then the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "Take handfuls of soot from a furnace and have Moses toss it into the air in the presence of Pharaoh. It will become fine dust over the whole land of Egypt, and festering boils will break out on people and animals throughout the land." So they took soot from a furnace and stood before Pharaoh. Moses tossed it into the air, and festering boils broke out on people and animals. The magicians could not stand before Moses because of the boils that were on them and on all the Egyptians. But the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he would not listen to Moses and Aaron, just as the Lord had said to them. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Get up early in the morning, confront Pharaoh and say to him, 'This is what the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, says. Let my people go, so that they may worship me, or this time I will send the full force of my plagues against you and against your officials and your people, so you may know that there is no one like me in all the earth. For by now I could have stretched out my hand and struck you and your people with a plague that would have wiped you off the earth. But I have raised you up for this very purpose, that I might show you my power and that my name might be proclaimed in all the earth. You still set yourself against my people and will not let them go. Therefore, at this time tomorrow I will send the worst hailstorm that has ever fallen on Egypt, from the day it was founded till now. Give an order now to bring your livestock and everything else you have in the open country under shelter, because the hail will fall on every person and animal that has not been brought in and is out in the open field, and they will die." Some of Pharaoh's officials heeded the word of the Lord and brought their slaves and livestock inside. But those who did not regard the word of the Lord left their slaves and livestock in the field. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Stretch out your hand toward the sky so that hail will fall all over Egypt, on people and animals and on everything growing in the fields of Egypt." When Moses stretched out his staff toward the sky, the Lord sent thunder and hail, and lightning flashed down to the earth. So the Lord rained hail on the land of Egypt. The hail struck everything in the fields throughout the land of Egypt, both people and animals. It beat down everything growing in the fields and stripped every tree. The only place it did not hail was the land of Goshen, where the Israelites lived. Then Pharaoh summoned Moses and Aaron. "This time I have sinned," he said to them. "The Lord is righteous, and I and my people are guilty. Pray to the Lord, for we have had enough thunder and hail. I will let you go, you don't have to stay any longer." Moses replied, "When I have left the city, I will spread out my hands in prayer to the Lord. The thunder will stop and there will be no more hail, so you may know that the earth is the Lord's. But I know that you and your officials still do not fear the Lord God." The flax and barley were destroyed, since the barley had headed and the flax was in bloom. But the wheat and spelt were not destroyed, because they ripen later. When Moses left Pharaoh and went out of the city, he spread out his hands in prayer to the Lord. The thunder and hail stopped, and the rain no longer poured down on the land. When Pharaoh saw that the rain and hail and thunder had stopped, he sinned again. He and his officials hardened their hearts. So Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and he would not let the Israelites go, just as the Lord had said through Moses. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Go to Pharaoh, for I have hardened his heart and the hearts of his officials, so that I may perform these signs of mine among them, that you may tell your children and grandchildren how I made a mockery of the Egyptians and how I performed my signs among them, and so you will know that I am the Lord." So Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh and said to him, "This is what the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, says, 'How long will you refuse to humble yourself before me? Let my people go so that they may worship me. If you refuse to let them go, I will bring locusts into your country tomorrow. They will cover the face of the ground so that it cannot be seen. They will devour what little is left that escaped the hail, and they will strip every tree that is growing in your fields. They will fill your houses and those of all your officials and all the Egyptians, something neither your parents nor your ancestors have ever seen from the day they settled in this land till now." Then Moses turned and left Pharaoh. Pharaoh's officials said to him, "How long will this man be a snare to us? Let the people go so that they may worship the Lord their God. Don't you realize that Egypt is ruined?" Then Moses and Aaron were brought back to Pharaoh. "Go, worship the Lord your God," he said. "But just who will be going?" Moses answered, "We will go with our young and old, with our sons and daughters, and with our flocks and herds, because we are to celebrate a festival to the Lord." Pharaoh said to them, "The Lord be with you if I ever let you go, along with your women and children. Clearly you are bent on doing something evil. Take heed, for evil is in your mind. Not so. Go now, you men, and serve the Lord, since that's what you desire." With that, Pharaoh's patience snapped completely, and the men were driven from his presence, the royal guards all too eager to escort them roughly out of the palace and back toward their squalid district. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, his voice resonating with divine authority. "Stretch out your hand over the land of Egypt, and summon the locusts. Let them ascend upon this land and devour every plant, every green shoot, every blade of grass, even all that the hail has spared." Without hesitation, Moses extended his staff, the very symbol of God's power, over the fertile land of Egypt. And the Lord unleashed his will, directing a relentless east wind to sweep across the country. It blew with furious intensity all that day and all through the night, an ominous precursor to the devastation that was to come. As the sun rose, painting the sky in hues of orange and gold, the east wind delivered its dreadful cargo, a biblical swarm of locusts. They poured over the land, a living carpet of destruction, settling upon every corner of Egypt. Their numbers were staggering, unprecedented, and terrifying. There had never been such a plague of locusts before, nor would there ever be again. They blanketed the ground, obscuring the very earth, turning day into an eerie twilight. The locusts descended upon the crops like a ravenous horde, stripping the land bare. They devoured every plant, every vegetable, every stalk of grain, leaving behind only barren fields and skeletal remains. Even the fruit trees, once laden with promise, were now stripped of their bounty, their leaves and branches gnawed bare. Nothing green remained. The land was utterly desolate. Panic seized Pharaoh as he surveyed the ruined landscape. He realized the true magnitude of his defiance and the devastating consequences of his stubborn pride. Desperate, he hurriedly summoned Moses and Aaron, his arrogance momentarily forgotten. "I have sinned against the Lord your God and against you," he confessed, his voice laced with a newfound humility, even fear. "Now therefore, please forgive my sin, this once, and plead with the Lord your God to remove this deadly plague from me." Humbled by Pharaoh's plea, Moses departed from the palace and entreated the Lord on behalf of Egypt. And the Lord, in his mercy, responded. He shifted the wind, turning it into a mighty west wind that swept across the land. The locusts, caught in its powerful currents, were lifted from the fields and carried away, driven relentlessly into the Red Sea. Not a single locust remained within the borders of Egypt. The land was purged, the sky was clear, but Pharaoh's repentance was fleeting. As soon as the immediate threat was gone, his heart hardened once more. He reneged on his promise and refused to let the sons of Israel go. The taste of freedom, so briefly savored by the Israelites, was snatched away. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Stretch out your hand toward the sky, and let there be darkness over the land of Egypt, a darkness so thick it can be felt." Moses obeyed without question. He raised his hand toward the heavens, and an unnatural darkness descended upon Egypt. It was not merely the absence of light. It was a tangible darkness, a suffocating presence that pressed down upon the land. For 3 long days, the darkness persisted, unrelenting and oppressive. The Egyptians were plunged into a world of absolute blackness. They could not see one another, not even their own hands before their faces. Fear gripped their hearts as they stumbled blindly through their homes, unable to work, unable to move. For 3 days, no one rose from their place, paralyzed by the impenetrable darkness. But in the dwellings of the Israelites, there was light. A miraculous glow illuminated their homes, a beacon of hope and divine favor in the midst of the enveloping darkness. After 3 days of this torment, Pharaoh, his spirit broken, summoned Moses once more. "Go, serve the Lord," he conceded, his voice weary. "Only let your flocks and herds be detained. Even your little ones may go with you." But Moses stood firm. "You must also let us have sacrifices and burnt offerings to sacrifice to the Lord our God. Therefore our livestock must also go with us. Not a single hoof shall be left behind, for we shall take some of them to serve the Lord our God. Until we arrive there, we do not even know what we shall use to serve the Lord." Pharaoh, his patience exhausted, his heart hardened beyond repair, erupted in fury. He was a man pushed to the edge. "Get away from me!" he roared, his face contorted with rage. "Beware! Do not ever see my face again, for on the day you see my face you shall die." Moses, unmoved by Pharaoh's threat, simply replied, "You are right. I shall never see your face again." Music, heat, music. Now the Lord, his voice filled with a solemn finality, spoke to Moses. "One more plague I will bring on Pharaoh and on Egypt. After that, he will not only let you go from here, but he will surely drive you out completely. Speak now in the hearing of the people, and let each man ask from his neighbor, and each woman from her neighbor, for articles of silver and articles of gold." The Lord, in his infinite wisdom, was preparing his people for their departure, ensuring that they would not leave empty-handed after centuries of servitude. The Lord gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians. Furthermore, the man Moses himself was greatly esteemed in the land of Egypt, both in the sight of Pharaoh's servants and in the sight of the people. Moses, empowered by God's word, addressed the Israelites, relaying the divine decree. "Thus says the Lord," he declared, his voice resonating with authority. "About midnight I am going out into the midst of Egypt, and all the firstborn in the land of Egypt shall die, from the firstborn of Pharaoh who sits on his throne, even to the firstborn of the slave girl who is behind the millstones, all the firstborn of the cattle as well. Moreover, there shall be a great cry in all the land of Egypt, such as there has not been before, and such as shall never be again. But against any of the sons of Israel not even a dog will bark, whether against man or beast, that you may understand how the Lord makes a distinction between Egypt and Israel. All these your servants will come down to me and bow themselves before me, saying, 'Go out, you and all the people who follow you.' And after that I will go out." Then, his face set with grim determination, Moses departed from Pharaoh's presence. He knew that the final act of this divine drama was about to unfold. The Lord said to Moses, "Pharaoh will not listen to you, so that my wonders will be multiplied in the land of Egypt." Moses and Aaron performed all these wonders before Pharaoh. Heat, 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 music, music. Yet the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he did not let the sons of Israel go out of his land. Now the Lord said to Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, "This month shall be the beginning of months for you. It is to be the first month of the year to you. Speak to all the congregation of Israel, saying, 'On the 10th of this month, they are each one to take a lamb for themselves, according to their fathers' households, a lamb for each household. Now, if the household is too small for a lamb, then he and his neighbor nearest to his house are to take one according to the number of persons in them, according to what each man should eat. You are to divide the lamb. Your lamb shall be an unblemished male a year old. You may take it from the sheep or from the goats. You shall keep it until the 14th day of the same month. Then the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel is to kill it at twilight. Moreover, they shall take some of the blood and put it on the 2 doorposts and on the lintel of the houses in which they eat it. They shall eat the flesh that same night roasted with fire, and they shall eat it with unleavened bread and bitter herbs. Do not eat any of it raw or boiled at all with water, but rather roasted with fire, both its head and its legs along with its entrails. And you shall not leave any of it over until morning. But whatever is left of it until morning, you shall burn with fire. Now you shall eat it in this manner, with your loins girded, your sandals on your feet, and your staff in your hand, and you shall eat it in haste. It is the Lord's Passover. For I will go through the land of Egypt on that night, and will strike down all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast. And against all the gods of Egypt I will execute judgments. I am the Lord. The blood shall be a sign for you on the houses where you live. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you, and no plague will befall you to destroy you when I strike the land of Egypt. Now this day will be a memorial to you, and you shall celebrate it as a feast to the Lord. Throughout your generations you are to celebrate it as a permanent ordinance. 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread, but on the first day you shall remove leaven from your houses. For whoever eats anything leaven-veaned from the first day until the 7th day, that person shall be cut off from Israel. On the first day you shall have a holy assembly and another holy assembly on the 7th day. No work at all shall be done on them except what must be eaten by every person, that alone may be prepared by you. You shall also observe the feast of unleavened bread. For on this very day I brought your hosts out of the land of Egypt. Therefore you shall observe this day throughout your generations as a permanent ordinance. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month at evening, you shall eat unleavened bread until the 21st day of the month at evening. 7 days there shall be no leaven found in your houses. For whoever eats what is leaven-veaned, that person shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel, whether he is an alien or a native of the land. You shall not eat anything leavened. In all your dwellings you shall eat unleavened bread. Then Moses called for all the elders of Israel and said to them, Go and take for yourselves lambs according to your families and slay the Passover lamb. You shall take a bunch of hyssop and dip it in the blood which is in the basin, and apply some of the blood that is in the basin to the lintel and the 2 doorposts, and none of you shall go outside the door of his house until morning. For the Lord will pass through to smite the Egyptians. And when he sees the blood on the lintel and on the 2 doorposts, the Lord will pass over the door and will not allow the destroyer to come into your houses to smite you. And you shall observe this event as an ordinance for you and your children forever. When you enter the land which the Lord will give you as he has promised, you shall observe this rite. And when your children say to you, "What does this rite mean to you?" you shall say, "It is a Passover sacrifice to the Lord, who passed over the houses of the sons of Israel in Egypt, when he smote the Egyptians, but spared our homes." And the people bowed low and worshipped. Then the sons of Israel went and did so, just as the Lord had commanded Moses and Aaron. So they did. Now it came about at midnight that the Lord struck all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh who sat on his throne to the firstborn of the captive who was in the dungeon and all the firstborn of cattle. Pharaoh arose in the night, he and all his servants and all the Egyptians. And there was a great cry in Egypt, for there was no home where there was not someone dead. Music. Then he called for Moses and Aaron at night and said, "Rise up, get out from among my people, both you and the sons of Israel, and go worship the Lord as you have said. Take both your flocks and your herds, as you have said, and go and bless me also." The Egyptians urged the people to send them out of the land in haste, for they said, "We will all be dead." So the people took their dough before it was leavened with their kneading bowls bound up in the clothes on their shoulders. Now the sons of Israel had done according to the word of Moses. For they had requested from the Egyptians articles of silver and articles of gold and clothing. And the Lord had given the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians, so that they let them have their request. Thus they plundered the Egyptians. Now the sons of Israel journeyed from Ramesses to Succoth, about 600,000 men on foot. Aside from children, a mixed multitude also went up with them along with flocks and herds, a very large number of livestock. They baked the dough which they had brought out of Egypt into cakes of unleavened bread, for it had not become leavened since they were driven out of Egypt and could not delay, nor had they prepared any provisions for themselves. Now the time that the sons of Israel lived in Egypt was 430 years. And at the end of 430 years, to the very day, all the hosts of the Lord went out from the land of Egypt. It is a night to be observed for the Lord for having brought them out from the land of Egypt. This night is for the Lord to be observed by all the sons of Israel throughout their generations. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "This is the ordinance of the Passover. No foreigner is to eat of it, but every man's slave purchased with money after you have circumcised him, then he may eat of it. A sojourner or a hired servant shall not eat of it. It is to be eaten in a single house. You are not to bring forth any of the flesh outside of the house, nor are you to break any bone of it. All the congregation of Israel are to celebrate this. But if a stranger sojourns with you and celebrates the Passover to the Lord, let all his males be circumcised, and then let him come near to celebrate it, and he shall be like a native of the land, but no uncircumcised person may eat of it. The same law shall apply to the native as to the stranger who sojourns among you." Then all the sons of Israel did so. They did just as the Lord had commanded Moses and Aaron. And on that same day, the Lord brought the sons of Israel out of the land of Egypt by their hosts. Music, 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 music. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Sanctify to me every firstborn, the first offspring of every womb among the sons of Israel, both of man and beast, it belongs to me." Moses said to the people, "Remember this day in which you went out from Egypt, from the house of slavery, for by a powerful hand the Lord brought you out from this place, and nothing leavened shall be eaten. On this day, in the month of Abib, you are about to go forth. It shall be when the Lord brings you to the land of the Canaanite, the Hittite, the Amorite, the Hivite, and the Jebusite, which he swore to your fathers to give you, a land flowing with milk and honey, that you shall observe this rite in this month. For 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread, and on the 7th day there shall be a feast to the Lord. Unleavened bread shall be eaten throughout the 7 days, and nothing leavened shall be seen among you, nor shall any leaven be seen among you in all your borders. You shall tell your son on that day, saying, 'It is because of what the Lord did for me when I came out of Egypt,' and it shall serve as a sign to you on your hand, and as a reminder on your forehead, that the law of the Lord may be in your mouth. For with a powerful hand the Lord brought you out of Egypt." Therefore you shall keep this ordinance at its appointed time from year to year. Now, when the Lord brings you to the land of the Canaanite, as he swore to you and to your fathers and gives it to you, you shall devote to the Lord the first offspring of every womb, and the first offspring of every beast that you own. The males belong to the Lord, but every first offspring of a donkey you shall redeem with a lamb. But if you do not redeem it, then you shall break its neck. And every firstborn of man among your sons you shall redeem. And it shall be when your son asks you in time to come, saying, What is this? Then you shall say to him, With a powerful hand, the Lord brought us out of Egypt from the house of slavery. It came about when Pharaoh was stubborn about letting us go that the Lord killed every firstborn in the land of Egypt, both the firstborn of man and the firstborn of beast. Therefore, I sacrifice to the Lord the males, the first offspring of every womb, but every firstborn of my sons I redeem. So it shall serve as a sign on your hand and as phylacteries on your forehead. For with a powerful hand the Lord brought us out of Egypt. Now when Pharaoh had let the people go, God did not lead them by the way of the land of the Philistines, even though it was near. For God said, The people might change their minds when they see war and return to Egypt. Hence God led the people around by the way of the wilderness to the Red Sea. And the sons of Israel went up in martial array from the land of Egypt. Moses took the bones of Joseph with him, for he had made the sons of Israel solemnly swear, saying, God will surely take care of you, and you shall carry my bones from here with you. Then they set out from Succoth and camped in Etham on the edge of the wilderness. The Lord was going before them in a pillar of cloud by day to lead them on the way, and in a pillar of fire by night to give them light that they might travel by day and by night. He did not take away the pillar of cloud by day, nor the pillar of fire by night from before the people. Now the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Tell the sons of Israel to turn back and camp before Paharoth, between Dal and the sea. You shall camp in front of Balon, opposite it by the sea. For Pharaoh will say of the sons of Israel, They are wandering aimlessly in the land. The wilderness has shut them in. Thus, I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and he will chase after them. And I will be honored through Pharaoh and all his army, and the Egyptians will know that I am the Lord. And they did so. When the king of Egypt was told that the people had fled, Pharaoh and his servants had a change of heart toward the people, and they said, What is this we have done that we have let Israel go from serving us? So he made his chariot ready and took his people with him. And he took 600 select chariots and all the other chariots of Egypt with officers over all of them. The Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and he chased after the sons of Israel, as the sons of Israel were going out boldly. Then the Egyptians chased after them with all the horses and chariots of Pharaoh, his horsemen and his army, and they overtook them camping by the sea beside the Hahir in front of Baal-zephon. As Pharaoh drew near, the sons of Israel looked, and behold, the Egyptians were marching after them, and they became very frightened. So the sons of Israel cried out to the Lord. Then they said to Moses, Is it because there were no graves in Egypt that you have taken us away to die in the wilderness? Why have you dealt with us in this way, bringing us out of Egypt? Is this not the word that we spoke to you in Egypt, saying, Leave us alone that we may serve the Egyptians? For it would have been better for us to serve the Egyptians than to die in the wilderness. But Moses said to the people, Do not fear. Stand by and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will accomplish for you today. For the Egyptians whom you have seen today, you will never see them again forever. The Lord will fight for you while you keep silent. Then the Lord said to Moses, Why are you crying out to me? Tell the sons of Israel to go forward. As for you, lift up your staff and stretch out your hand over the sea and divide it. And the sons of Israel shall go through the midst of the sea on dry land. As for me, behold, I will harden the hearts of the Egyptians so that they will go in after them. And I will be honored through Pharaoh and all his army, through his chariots and his horsemen. Then the Egyptians will know that I am the Lord when I am honored through Pharaoh, through his chariots and his horsemen. Music, the angel of God who had been going before the camp of Israel moved and went behind them. And the pillar of cloud moved from before them and stood behind them. So it came between the camp, of Egypt and the camp of Israel, creating a tangible division between them. And there, amidst the vast expanse, a cloud materialized, bringing with it an impenetrable darkness that enveloped the Egyptians. Yet, miraculously, it radiated a gentle light upon the Israelites, illuminating their path throughout the night. Thus, the two camps remained separated, unable to approach each other, as the night stretched on. Then, guided by divine inspiration, Moses extended his hand over the sea, a gesture of faith and obedience. And the Lord, in his infinite power, unleashed a fierce east wind, its strength relentless as it swept across the waters throughout the entire night. The sea, once a formidable barrier, began to yield, the waters receding as if in submission to a higher authority. Gradually, the seabed emerged, transforming into dry land, a pathway carved out by the hand of God. So, with hearts filled with trepidation and awe, the sons of Israel descended into the midst of the sea, their footsteps finding purchase on the newly formed dry land. On either side of them, the waters stood tall, like towering walls of shimmering glass, protecting them from harm. They walked with newfound confidence, knowing they were under the watchful gaze of their God. Then, consumed by a mixture of arrogance and desperation, the Egyptians resumed their pursuit. Pharaoh, blinded by his pride, ordered his entire army, his horses, his chariots, and his horsemen, to follow the Israelites into the depths of the sea. They charged forward, their hearts set on recapturing their former slaves, unaware of the divine trap that awaited them. As the first rays of dawn painted the sky, the Lord, from his celestial vantage point, cast his gaze upon the Egyptian army through the pillar of fire and cloud, and he unleashed chaos upon them, throwing their ranks into utter confusion. He caused the wheels of their chariots to falter and swerve, their movements becoming erratic and uncontrollable. The horses, panicked and disoriented, stumbled and reared, their once disciplined formations dissolving into disarray. The Egyptians found themselves struggling to maintain their advance, their progress hampered by the divine intervention. In the midst of the pandemonium, a chilling realization dawned upon the Egyptians. Fear gripped their hearts as they recognized the futility of their pursuit. "Let us flee from Israel," they cried out, their voices filled with terror. "For the Lord is fighting for them against the Egyptians." Then, the Lord spoke to Moses, his voice resonating with divine authority. "Stretch out your hand over the sea," he commanded, "so that the waters may come back over the Egyptians, over their chariots and their horsemen." Without hesitation, Moses obeyed. He stretched out his hand over the sea, and as daybreak fully illuminated the horizon, the waters began to surge back, reclaiming their rightful place. The Egyptians, desperately trying to escape, found themselves engulfed by the relentless tide. Then the Lord unleashed his full power, overthrowing the Egyptians in the midst of the sea. The waters crashed down upon them, burying the chariots and the horsemen beneath their crushing weight. Pharaoh's entire army, those who had dared to pursue the Israelites into the heart of the sea, were utterly destroyed. Not a single one of them remained to tell the tale. But the sons of Israel, safely on the other side, watched in astonishment as the miracle unfolded before their eyes. They had walked on dry land through the heart of the sea, with the waters forming protective walls on either side. They emerged unscathed, their faith strengthened by the tangible evidence of God's power. Thus, on that momentous day, the Lord saved Israel from the clutches of the Egyptians. They witnessed firsthand the demise of their oppressors, their bodies washed ashore, a testament to the Lord's wrath. When Israel beheld the immense power that the Lord had wielded against the Egyptians, a profound sense of awe and reverence filled their hearts. They feared the Lord, acknowledging his supreme authority, and they believed in the Lord and in his servant Moses, recognizing him as their divinely appointed leader. Music, 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 music. Then, filled with jubilation and gratitude, Moses and the sons of Israel raised their voices in a triumphant song to the Lord. "I will sing to the Lord," they proclaimed, "for he is highly exalted. The horse and its rider he has hurled into the sea." The Lord is my strength and song. Moses continued, his voice ringing with unwavering faith, and he has become my salvation. This is my God, and I will praise him. My father's God, and I will extol him. The Lord is a warrior, they declared in unison. The Lord is his name. Pharaoh's chariots and his army he has cast into the sea, and the choicest of his officers are drowned in the Red Sea. The deeps cover them. They went down into the depths like a stone. Your right hand, O Lord, Moses sang, is majestic in power. Your right hand, O Lord, shatters the enemy. And in the greatness of your excellence, you overthrow those who rise up against you. You send forth your burning anger, and it consumes them as chaff. At the blast of your nostrils, the people echoed, their voices swelling with emotion. The waters were piled up, the flowing waters stood up like a heap, the deeps were congealed in the heart of the sea. The enemy said, Moses recounted, mimicking their arrogance. I will pursue, I will overtake, I will divide the spoil. My desire shall be gratified against them. I will draw out my sword. My hand will destroy them. You blew with your wind. The Israelites responded, their voices filled with triumph. The sea covered them. They sank like lead in the mighty waters. Who is like you among the gods, O Lord? Moses exclaimed, his voice soaring with reverence. Who is like you, majestic in holiness, awesome in praises, working wonders? You stretched out your right hand. The earth swallowed them. In your loving kindness, they continued, their hearts overflowing with gratitude. You have led the people whom you have redeemed. In your strength, you have guided them to your holy habitation. The peoples have heard. They tremble. Anguish has gripped the inhabitants of Philistia. Then the chiefs of Edom were dismayed, Moses declared. The leaders of Moab, trembling, grips them. All the inhabitants of Canaan have melted away. Terror and dread fall upon them. By the greatness of your arm, they are motionless as stone, until your people pass over, O Lord, until the people pass over whom you have purchased. You will bring them and plant them in the mountain of your inheritance. The Israelites sang, their voices united in hope. The place, O Lord, which you have made for your dwelling, the sanctuary, O Lord, which your hands have established. The Lord shall reign forever and ever. For the horses of Pharaoh with his chariots and his horsemen went into the sea, Moses recounted. And the Lord brought back the waters of the sea on them. But the sons of Israel walked on dry land through the midst of the sea. Miriam the prophetess, Aaron's sister, seized a timbrel in her hand, her eyes shining with joy. All the women followed her, their voices rising in song, their timbrels echoing the triumph of the moment. Sing to the Lord, Miriam proclaimed, leading the women in a joyous chorus. For he is highly exalted. The horse and his rider he has hurled into the sea. Then, leaving the shores of the Red Sea behind them, Moses led Israel into the vast and unforgiving wilderness of Shur. For 3 long days, they journeyed through the desolate landscape, their throats parched, their bodies weary, searching in vain for water. Finally, they arrived at Marah, but their hopes were dashed as they discovered that its waters were bitter and undrinkable. Therefore, that place was named Marah, a testament to their disappointment and hardship. The people, their spirits flagging, began to grumble against Moses, their voices filled with resentment. What shall we drink? They demanded, their thirst driving them to desperation. Then, in his unwavering faith, Moses cried out to the Lord, seeking guidance and deliverance. And the Lord, in his infinite mercy, showed him a tree. He instructed Moses to throw it into the waters, and as the wood touched the bitter liquid, a miraculous transformation occurred. The waters became sweet and palatable, quenching the thirst of the weary Israelites. There, amidst the desolation, the Lord established for them a statute and regulation, a framework for their lives as his chosen people. He tested them, challenging them to demonstrate their obedience and faith. If you will give earnest heed to the voice of the Lord your God, he declared, and do what is right in his sight, and give ear to his commandments, and keep all his statutes, I will put none of the diseases on you which I have put on the Egyptians. For I, the Lord, am your healer." Then, their thirst quenched, their spirits renewed, they came to Elim, a place of abundance and respite. There, nestled amidst the harsh landscape, were 12 springs of water and 70 date palms, offering shade and sustenance. And they camped there beside the refreshing waters, finding solace and strength in God's provision. Then they set out from Elim, and all the congregation of the sons of Israel came to the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, on the 15th day of the 2nd month after their departure from the land of Egypt. There, in the barren expanse, the whole congregation of the sons of Israel grumbled against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness, their complaints echoing through the desolate landscape. The sons of Israel said to them, "Would that we had died by the Lord's hand in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the pots of meat, when we ate bread to the full. For you have brought us out into this wilderness to kill this whole assembly with hunger." Music. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Behold, I will rain bread from heaven for you, and the people shall go out and gather a day's portion every day, that I may test them, whether or not they will walk in my instruction. On the 6th day, when they prepare what they bring in, it will be twice as much as they gather daily." So Moses and Aaron said to all the sons of Israel, "At evening you will know that the Lord has brought you out of the land of Egypt, and in the morning you will see the glory of the Lord, for he hears your grumblings against the Lord. And what are we that you grumble against us?" Moses said, "This will happen when the Lord gives you meat to eat in the evening and bread to the full in the morning. For the Lord hears your grumblings, which you grumble against him. And what are we? Your grumblings are not against us but against the Lord." Then Moses said to Aaron, "Say to all the congregation of the sons of Israel, 'Come near before the Lord, for he has heard your grumblings.'" It came about as Aaron spoke to the whole congregation of the sons of Israel, that they looked toward the wilderness, and behold, the glory of the Lord appeared in the cloud. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "I have heard the grumblings of the sons of Israel. Speak to them, saying, 'At twilight you shall eat meat, and in the morning you shall be filled with bread, and you shall know that I am the Lord your God.'" So it came about at evening that the quail came up and covered the camp, a flurry of wings descending from the sky. And in the morning there was a layer of dew around the camp, glistening in the sunlight. When the layer of dew evaporated, behold, on the surface of the wilderness there was a fine flake-like thing, fine as the frost on the ground, blanketing the landscape. When the sons of Israel saw it, they said to one another, "What is it?" For they did not know what it was. And Moses said to them, "It is the bread which the Lord has given you to eat. This is what the Lord has commanded. Gather of it every man as much as he should eat. You shall take an omer apiece according to the number of persons each of you has in his tent." The sons of Israel did so, and some gathered much and some little, each driven by their own diligence and anxieties. When they measured it with an omer, he who had gathered much had no excess, and he who had gathered little had no lack, a testament to God's equal provision. Every man gathered as much as he should eat, finding sustenance in the divine gift. Moses said to them, "Let no man leave any of it until morning." But they did not listen to Moses, and some left part of it until morning, their doubts and fears overriding his instructions. And it bred worms and became foul, a consequence of their disobedience. And Moses was angry with them, his disappointment evident. They gathered it morning by morning, every man as much as he should eat, finding daily sustenance in the wilderness. But when the sun grew hot, it would melt, its delicate form dissolving under the scorching rays. Now on the 6th day, they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers for each one, a preparation for the day of rest. When all the leaders of the congregation came and told Moses, their voices filled with concern, then he said to them, "This is what the Lord meant. Tomorrow is a Sabbath observance, a holy Sabbath to the Lord. Bake what you will bake and boil what you will boil, and all that is left over put aside to be kept until morning." So they put it aside until morning, as Moses had ordered, their faith growing in obedience. And it did not become foul, nor was there any worm in it, a testament to the sanctity of the Sabbath. Moses said, Eat it today, for today is a Sabbath to the Lord. Today you will not find it in the field. 6 days you shall gather it, but on the 7th day, the Sabbath, there will be none. It came about on the 7th day that some of the people went out to gather, their hearts still clinging to worldly anxieties, but they found none. Then the Lord said to Moses, "How long do you refuse to keep my commandments and my instructions? See, the Lord has given you the Sabbath. Therefore he gives you bread for 2 days on the 6th day. Remain every man in his place. Let no man go out of his place on the 7th day." So the people rested on the 7th day, embracing the gift of Sabbath. The house of Israel named it manna, and it was like coriander seed, white, and its taste was like wafers with honey, a sweet reminder of God's provision. Then Moses said, "This is what the Lord has commanded. Let an omerful of it be kept throughout your generations, that they may see the bread that I fed you in the wilderness when I brought you out of the land of Egypt." Moses said to Aaron, "Take a jar and put an omerful of manna in it, and place it before the Lord to be kept throughout your generations, a tangible reminder of his covenant." As the Lord commanded Moses, so Aaron placed it before the testimony, a sacred artifact to be preserved for generations. The sons of Israel ate the manna 40 years, a testament to God's enduring provision, until they came to an inhabited land. They ate the manna until they came to the border of the land of Canaan, the land of promise. Now, an omer is 1/10 of an ephah, a measure of divine abundance. Music, 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 music. Then all the congregation of the sons of Israel journeyed by stages from the wilderness of Sin, following the command of the Lord. They arrived and camped at Rephidim, but to their dismay, there was no water for the people to drink, a trial of their faith. Therefore, the people quarreled with Moses, their voices rising in anger and frustration. "Give us water that we may drink," they demanded, their thirst fueling their discontent. And Moses said to them, his heart burdened by their lack of trust, "Why do you quarrel with me? Why do you test the Lord?" But the people thirsted there for water, their bodies weakened by the arid landscape. They grumbled against Moses, their complaints echoing through the camp. "Why now have you brought us up from Egypt, to kill us and our children and our livestock with thirst?" They cried, their voices filled with despair. So Moses cried out to the Lord, his faith unwavering amidst their accusations. "What shall I do to this people?" he pleaded. "A little more and they will stone me." Then the Lord said to Moses, his voice filled with divine authority, "Pass before the people and take with you some of the elders of Israel, and take in your hand your staff with which you struck the Nile and go. Behold, I will stand before you there on the rock at Horeb, and you shall strike the rock and water will come out of it, that the people may drink." And Moses did so in the sight of the elders of Israel, his obedience a testament to his unwavering faith. He named the place Massah and Meribah, because of the quarrel of the sons of Israel, and because they tested the Lord, saying, "Is the Lord among us, or not?" Then Amalek came and fought against Israel at Rephidim, their aggression a test of Israel's resolve. So Moses said to Joshua, entrusting him with leadership, "Choose men for us and go out, fight against Amalek. Tomorrow I will station myself on the top of the hill with the staff of God in my hand." Joshua did as Moses told him, his obedience unwavering, and fought against Amalek. And Moses, Aaron, and Hur went up to the top of the hill, their presence a symbol of divine support. So it came about when Moses held his hand up, that Israel prevailed, their strength amplified by God's power. And when he let his hand down, Amalek prevailed, a reminder of the dependence on divine assistance. But Moses' hands were heavy, his physical strength waning under the strain of maintaining the staff aloft. Then they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat on it, finding support in their care. And Aaron and Hur supported his hands, one on one side and one on the other, their unwavering commitment ensuring his strength. Thus his hands were steady until the sun set, their collaboration a symbol of unity and faith. So Joshua overwhelmed Amalek and his people with the edge of the sword, securing victory through divine assistance and human courage. Then the Lord said to Moses, his voice resonating with divine decree. "Write this in a book as a memorial and recite it to Joshua, that I will utterly blot out the memory of Amalek from under heaven." Moses built an altar and named it "The Lord is my banner," a declaration of divine sovereignty and protection. And he said, inspired by divine revelation, "The Lord has sworn, the Lord will have war against Amalek from generation to generation," a prophecy of enduring conflict. Now Jethro, the priest of Midian, Moses' father-in-law, heard of all that God had done for Moses and for Israel, his people, how the Lord had brought Israel out of Egypt. His heart filled with wonder and admiration. Jethro, moved by this divine intervention, took Moses' wife, Zipporah, after he had sent her away, and her 2 sons, reconnecting their family. One of the sons was named Gershom, reflecting Moses' experience as a sojourner. For Moses had said, "I have been a sojourner in a foreign land," acknowledging his past exile. The other was named Eleazar, a testament to divine assistance. For he had said, "The God of my father was my help and delivered me from the sword of Pharaoh," recognizing God's protection. Then Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, came with his sons and his wife to Moses in the wilderness where he was camped at the mountain of God. His intentions driven by familial love and a desire to witness God's work. He sent word to Moses, announcing his arrival. "I, your father-in-law, Jethro, am coming to you with your wife and her 2 sons with her," he declared, his message filled with affection. Then Moses went out to meet his father-in-law, his heart filled with joy and respect. He bowed down and kissed him, a gesture of honor and affection, and they asked each other of their welfare, sharing news of their lives and experiences, and went into the tent, seeking privacy for their reunion. Moses told his father-in-law all that the Lord had done to Pharaoh and to the Egyptians for Israel's sake, recounting the miraculous events. He shared all the hardship that had befallen them on the journey, acknowledging the challenges they had faced. And he described how the Lord had delivered them, emphasizing God's unwavering faithfulness. Jethro rejoiced over all the goodness which the Lord had done to Israel in delivering them from the hand of the Egyptians, his heart filled with gratitude. So Jethro said, his voice filled with reverence, "Blessed be the Lord who delivered you from the hand of the Egyptians and from the hand of Pharaoh, and who delivered the people from under the hand of the Egyptians. Now I know that the Lord is greater than all the gods." Indeed, it was proven when they dealt proudly against the people, acknowledging God's supreme power and justice. Then Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, took a burnt offering and sacrifices for God, expressing his worship and gratitude. And Aaron came with all the elders of Israel, joining in the celebration, to eat a meal with Moses' father-in-law before God, sharing fellowship in his presence. It came about the next day that Moses sat to judge the people, fulfilling his role as their leader and mediator. And the people stood about Moses from the morning until the evening, their disputes and concerns demanding his attention. Now when Moses' father-in-law saw all that he was doing for the people, he questioned his methods, his wisdom seeking to guide Moses. "What is this thing that you are doing for the people?" he asked, his tone gentle but probing. "Why do you alone sit as judge and all the people stand about you from morning until evening?" Moses said to his father-in-law, explaining his responsibilities, "Because the people come to me to inquire of God. When they have a dispute, it comes to me, and I judge between a man and his neighbor, and make known the statutes of God and his laws," outlining his duties as interpreter of God's will. Moses' father-in-law said to him, offering his counsel, "The thing that you are doing is not good. You will surely wear out both yourself and these people who are with you, for the task is too heavy for you. You cannot do it alone. Now listen to me. I will give you counsel, and God be with you. You be the people's representative before God, and you bring the disputes to God. Then teach them the statutes and the laws, and make known to them the way in which they are to walk, and the work they are to do. Furthermore, you shall select out of all the people able men who fear God, men of truth, those who hate dishonest gain. And you shall place these over them as leaders of thousands, of hundreds, of fifties, and of tens. Let them judge the people at all times, and let it be that every major dispute they will bring to you, but every minor dispute they themselves will judge. So it will be easier for you, and they will bear the burden with you. If you do this thing and God so commands you, then you will be able to endure, and all these people also will go to their place in peace. Presenting a plan for delegation and efficient leadership. So Moses listened to his father-in-law, his heart opened to wisdom, and did all that he had said, implementing his counsel. Moses chose able men out of all Israel, selecting those with the qualities Jethro had described. He made them heads over the people, organizing them into a structured hierarchy. He appointed leaders of thousands, of hundreds, of fifties, and of tens, creating a system of shared responsibility. They judged the people at all times, resolving disputes and maintaining order, their efforts lightening Moses' burden. The difficult dispute they would bring to Moses, seeking his wisdom and guidance, but every minor dispute they themselves would judge, empowering them to serve the community. Then Moses bade his father-in-law farewell, expressing his gratitude and affection, and he went his way into his own land, returning to his home with renewed purpose. Music, music, music. In the 3rd month after the sons of Israel had gone out of the land of Egypt, their journey guided by divine providence, on that very day they came into the wilderness of Sinai, a place of profound significance. When they set out from Rephidim, they came to the wilderness of Sinai and camped in the wilderness, their encampment stretching across the vast landscape. And there Israel camped in front of the mountain, their destination reached. Moses went up to God, seeking guidance and communion, and the Lord called to him from the mountain, his voice resonating with divine power. Thus you shall say to the house of Jacob, and tell the sons of Israel, you yourselves have seen what I did to the Egyptians, and how I bore you on eagle's wings, and brought you to myself, reminding them of his deliverance and care. Now then, if you will indeed obey my voice and keep my covenant, then you shall be my own possession among all the peoples, for all the earth is mine, and you shall be to me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the words that you shall speak to the sons of Israel, presenting them with a covenant and a divine calling. So Moses came and called the elders of the people, the leaders of the tribes, and set before them all these words which the Lord had commanded him, faithfully conveying God's message. All the people answered together, their voices united in acceptance and commitment. All that the Lord has spoken, we will do, they declared, pledging their obedience to God's will. Music. And Moses brought back the words of the people to the Lord, relaying their pledge of commitment. The Lord said to Moses, his voice filled with anticipation, behold, I will come to you in a thick cloud, so that the people may hear when I speak with you and may also believe in you forever. Revealing his intention to manifest his presence and solidify their faith in Moses. Then Moses told the words of the people to the Lord, reaffirming their willingness to obey. The Lord also said to Moses, his instructions precise and demanding, go to the people and consecrate them today and tomorrow, and let them wash their garments, and let them be ready for the 3rd day. For on the 3rd day the Lord will come down on Mount Sinai in the sight of all the people, commanding them to prepare themselves for a sacred encounter. Will descend upon Mount Sinai in full view of all the people. Mark out a boundary around the mountain and warn the people, take heed that you do not go up the mountain or touch its base. Anyone who touches the mountain shall surely be put to death. No hand shall touch the person. They shall be stoned or shot with arrows. Whether it is an animal or a human being, they shall not live. Only when the ram's horn sounds a long blast shall the people be allowed to approach the mountain. So Moses went down from the mountain to the people and consecrated them, and they washed their clothes as a sign of purification. He addressed the people with solemnity. Be ready for the 3rd day. Abstain from marital relations. As the 3rd day dawned, a spectacle of immense power and grandeur unfolded. There was thunder, and flashes of lightning ripped through the sky. A dense cloud enveloped the mountain, and a deafening blast from a trumpet echoed throughout the camp. The people, gripped with fear, trembled. Moses led them out of the camp to meet God, and they stood at the foot of the mountain, their hearts pounding in their chests. Mount Sinai was entirely shrouded in smoke, for the Lord had descended upon it in fire. The smoke billowed upwards like the smoke from a furnace, and the whole mountain shook violently, a testament to God's awesome power. As the sound of the trumpet grew louder and louder, Moses spoke, and God answered him with thunder, his voice resonating with unimaginable authority. The Lord descended to the top of Mount Sinai and called Moses up to the summit. Moses ascended, his face filled with a mixture of awe and trepidation. The Lord spoke to Moses with urgency. Go down and warn the people not to break through the barrier to gaze at the Lord, lest many of them perish. Even the priests, who regularly come near to the Lord, must consecrate themselves, or else the Lord will break out against them. Moses, ever mindful of his people's safety, responded, The people cannot come up to Mount Sinai, for you yourself warned us, saying, Set boundaries around the mountain and consecrate it. But the Lord insisted, Go down and bring Aaron back up with you. But do not let the priests or the people break through to come up to the Lord, or I will break out against them. Obeying the divine command, Moses descended to the people and delivered the Lord's warning. Then, with the earth still trembling beneath their feet, God spoke all these words. I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make for yourself an idol, or any likeness of what is in heaven above, or on the earth beneath, or in the water under the earth. You shall not worship them or serve them. For I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers on the children, on the third and the fourth generations of those who hate me, but showing loving kindness to thousands, to those who love me and keep my commandments. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless who takes his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the seventh day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. On it you shall not do any work, neither you, nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your male servant, nor your female servant, nor your cattle, nor the sojourner who is within your gates. For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, the sea, and all that is in them, and rested on the seventh day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy. Honor your father and your mother, so that your days may be long in the land which the Lord your God gives you. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. You shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, nor his male servant, nor his female servant, nor his ox, nor his donkey, nor anything that belongs to your neighbor. The awe-stricken people witnessed the thunder and the lightning, the earth-shattering trumpet blasts, and the sight of the mountain engulfed in smoke. Overcome with terror, they stood at a distance. They pleaded with Moses, Speak to us yourself, and we will listen, but do not let God speak to us, or we will die. Moses, understanding their fear, reassured them, Do not be afraid, for God has come to test you, so that the fear of him may remain with you, that you may not sin. So the people remained at a distance, while Moses approached the thick cloud where God was. Then the Lord said to Moses, Thus you shall say to the sons of Israel, You yourselves have seen that I have spoken to you from heaven. You shall not make other gods besides me. Gods of silver or gods of gold, you shall not make for yourselves. You shall make an altar of earth for me and sacrifice on it your burnt offerings and your peace offerings, your sheep and your oxen. In every place where I cause my name to be remembered, I will come to you and bless you. If you make an altar of stone for me, you shall not build it of cut stones. For if you wield your tool on it, you will profane it. And you shall not go up by steps to my altar, so that your nakedness will not be exposed on it. Music, music. Now these are the ordinances which you are to set before them. If you buy a Hebrew slave, he shall serve for 6 years, but in the 7th he shall go out free without payment. If he comes in single, he shall go out single. If he comes in married, then his wife shall go out with him. If his master gives him a wife and she bears him sons or daughters, the wife and her children shall be her master's, and he shall go out alone. But if the slave plainly says, I love my master, my wife, and my children, I will not go out free, then his master shall bring him to God, then he shall bring him to the door or the doorpost, and his master shall pierce his ear with an awl, and he shall serve him permanently. Music. If a man sells his daughter as a female slave, she is not to go free as the male slaves do. If she is displeasing in the eyes of her master who designated her for himself, then he shall let her be redeemed. He does not have authority to sell her to a foreign people, because of his unfairness to her. If he designates her for his son, he shall deal with her according to the custom of daughters. If he takes to himself another woman, he may not reduce her food, her clothing, or her conjugal rights. If he will not do these three things for her, then she shall go out for nothing, without payment of money. Music. Music. If a man steals an ox or a sheep and slaughters it or sells it, he shall pay 5 oxen for the ox, and 4 sheep for the sheep. If the thief is caught while breaking in and is struck so that he dies, there will be no blood guiltiness on his account. But if the sun has risen on him, there will be blood guiltiness on his account. He shall surely make restitution. If he owns nothing, then he shall be sold for his theft. If what he stole is actually found alive in his possession, whether an ox or a donkey or a sheep, he shall pay double. If a man lets a field or vineyard be grazed bare and lets his animal loose so that it grazes in another man's field, he shall make restitution from the best of his own field and the best of his own vineyard. If a fire breaks out and spreads to thorn bushes, so that stacked grain or the standing grain or the field itself is consumed, he who started the fire shall surely make restitution. If a man gives his neighbor money or goods to keep for him, and it is stolen from the man's house, if the thief is caught, he shall pay double. If the thief is not caught, then the owner of the house shall appear before the judges to determine whether he laid his hands on his neighbor's property. For every breach of trust, whether it is for ox, for donkey, for sheep, for clothing, or for any lost thing about which one says, "This is it," the case of both parties shall come before the judges. He whom the judges condemn shall pay double to his neighbor. If a man gives his neighbor a donkey, an ox, a sheep, or any animal to keep for him, and it dies or is hurt or is driven away while no one is looking, an oath before the Lord shall be made by the 2 of them that he has not laid hands on his neighbor's property, and its owner shall accept it, and he shall not make restitution. But if it is actually stolen from him, he shall make restitution to its owner. If it is all torn to pieces, let him bring it as evidence. He shall not make restitution for what has been torn to pieces. If a man borrows anything from his neighbor and it is injured or dies while its owner is not with it, he shall make full restitution. If its owner is with it, he shall not make restitution. If it is hired, it came for its hire. Music. 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 If a man seduces a virgin who is not engaged and lies with her, he must pay a dowry for her to be his wife. If her father absolutely refuses to give her to him, he shall pay money equal to the dowry for virgins. You shall not allow a sorceress to live. Whoever lies with an animal shall surely be put to death. He who sacrifices to any god other than to the Lord alone shall be utterly destroyed. You shall not wrong a stranger or oppress him, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. You shall not afflict any widow or orphan. If you afflict him at all, and if he does cry out to me, I will surely hear his cry, and my anger will be kindled, and I will kill you with the sword, and your wives shall become widows, and your children fatherless. If you lend money to my people, to the poor among you, you are not to act as a creditor to him. You shall not charge him interest. If you ever take your neighbor's cloak as a pledge, you are to return it to him before the sun sets, for that is his only covering. It is his cloak for his body. What else shall he sleep in? And it shall come about that when he cries out to me, I will hear him, for I am gracious. You shall not curse God, nor curse a ruler of your people. You shall not delay the offering from your harvest and your vintage. The firstborn of your sons you shall give to me. You shall do the same with your oxen and with your sheep. It shall be with its mother 7 days. On the 8th day you shall give it to me. You shall be holy men to me. Therefore you shall not eat any flesh torn to pieces in the field. You shall throw it to the dogs. You shall not bear a false report. Do not join your hand with a wicked man to be a malicious witness. You shall not follow the masses in doing evil, nor shall you testify in a dispute so as to turn aside after a multitude in order to pervert justice. Nor shall you be partial to a poor man in his dispute. If you meet your enemy's ox or his donkey wandering away, you shall surely return it to him. If you see the donkey of one who hates you lying helpless under its load, you shall refrain from leaving it to him. You shall surely release it with him. You shall not pervert the justice due to your needy brother in his dispute. Keep far from a false charge, and do not kill the innocent or the righteous, for I will not acquit the guilty. You shall not take a bribe, for a bribe blinds the clear-sighted and subverts the cause of the just. You shall not oppress a stranger, since you yourselves know the feelings of a stranger, for you also were strangers in the land of Egypt. Music, music. You shall sow your land for 6 years and gather in its yield, but on the 7th year you shall let it rest and lie fallow, so that the needy of your people may eat, and whatever they leave, the beast of the field may eat. You are to do the same with your vineyard and your olive grove. 6 days you are to do your work, but on the 7th day you shall cease from labor, so that your ox and your donkey may rest, and the son of your female slave as well as your stranger may refresh themselves. Now concerning everything which I have said to you, be on your guard, and do not mention the name of other gods, nor let them be heard from your mouth. Music, music. 3 times a year you shall celebrate a feast to me. You shall observe the feast of unleavened bread. For 7 days you are to eat unleavened bread as I commanded you, at the appointed time in the month of Abib, for in it you came out of Egypt, and none shall appear before me empty-handed. Also you shall observe the feast of the harvest of the first fruits of your labors, from what you sow in the field. Also, the feast of the ingathering at the end of the year when you gather in the fruit of your labors from the field. 3 times a year all your males shall appear before the Lord God. You shall not offer the blood of my sacrifice with leavened bread, nor is the fat of my feast to remain overnight until morning. You shall bring the choice first fruits of your soil into the house of the Lord your God. You are not to boil a young goat in the milk of its mother. Music, music. Behold, I am going to send an angel before you to guard you along the way, and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Be on your guard before him and obey his voice. Do not be rebellious toward him, for he will not pardon your transgression, since my name is in him. But if you truly obey his voice and do all that I say, then I will be an enemy to your enemies and an adversary to your adversaries. For my angel will go before you and bring you into the land of the Amorites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Canaanites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites, and I will completely destroy them. You shall not worship their gods, nor serve them, nor do according to their deeds. But you shall utterly overthrow them and break their sacred pillars to pieces. But you shall serve the Lord your God, and he will bless your bread and your water, and I will remove sickness from your midst. There shall be no one miscarrying or barren in your land. I will fulfill the number of your days. Music. I will send my terror ahead of you and throw into confusion all the people among whom you come, and I will make all your enemies turn their backs to you. I will send hornets ahead of you so that they will drive out the Hivites, the Canaanites, and the Hittites before you. I will not drive them out before you in a single year, that the land may not become desolate and the beasts of the field become too numerous for you. I will drive them out before you little by little until you become fruitful and take possession of the land. I will fix your boundary from the Red Sea to the Sea of the Philistines and from the wilderness to the river Euphrates. For I will deliver the inhabitants of the land into your hand, and you will drive them out before you. You shall make no covenant with them or with their gods. They shall not live in your land because they will make you sin against me. For if you serve their gods, it will surely be a snare to you. Then he said to Moses, Come up to the Lord, you and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel, and you shall worship at a distance. Moses alone, however, shall come near to the Lord, but they shall not come near, nor shall the people come up with him. Then Moses came and recounted to the people all the words of the Lord and all the ordinances. And all the people answered with one voice and said, All the words which the Lord has spoken we will do. Moses wrote down all the words of the Lord. Then he arose early in the morning and built an altar at the foot of the mountain with 12 pillars for the 12 tribes of Israel. He sent young men of the sons of Israel, and they offered burnt offerings and sacrificed young bulls as peace offerings to the Lord. Moses took half of the blood and put it in basins, and the other half of the blood he sprinkled on the altar. Then he took the book of the covenant and read it in the hearing of the people. And they said, "All the words which the Lord has spoken we will do, and we will be obedient." So Moses took the blood and sprinkled it on the people and said, "Behold the blood of the covenant, which the Lord has made with you in accordance with all these words." Then Moses went up with Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel, and they saw the God of Israel. And under his feet there appeared to be a pavement of sapphire, as clear as the sky itself. Yet he did not stretch out his hand against the nobles of the sons of Israel, and they saw God, and they ate and drank. Now the Lord said to Moses, "Come up to me on the mountain and remain there, and I will give you the stone tablets with the law and the commandment which I have written for their instruction." So Moses arose with Joshua his servant, and Moses went up to the mountain of God. But to the elders he said, "Wait here for us until we return to you, and behold, Aaron and Hur are with you. Whoever has a legal matter, let him approach them." Then Moses went up to the mountain, and the cloud covered the mountain. The glory of the Lord rested on Mount Sinai, and the cloud covered it for 6 days. And on the 7th day he called to Moses from the midst of the cloud. And to the eyes of the sons of Israel, the appearance of the glory of the Lord was like a consuming fire on the mountaintop. Moses entered the midst of the cloud as he went up to the mountain. And Moses was on the mountain 40 days and 40 nights. Then you shall make a lampstand of pure gold. Music. The lampstand and its base and its shaft are to be made of hammered work. Its cups, its bulbs, and its flowers shall be of one piece with it. 6 branches shall go out from its sides. 3 branches of the lampstand from its one side, and 3 branches of the lampstand from its other side. 3 cups shall be shaped like almond blossoms in the one branch, a bulb and a flower, and 3 cups shaped like. There shall also be 3 cups fashioned like almond blossoms on the other branch, complete with a bulb and a flower, mirroring the design of the other side. This pattern shall be consistent for all 6 branches extending from the lampstand. The lampstand itself shall feature 4 cups shaped as almond blossoms, each adorned with its characteristic bulb and flower. A bulb shall be positioned beneath the first pair of branches emanating from the central stem. Similarly, a bulb shall be placed under the second pair of branches extending outwards. And finally, a bulb shall support the third pair of branches, completing the arrangement for all 6 branches arising from the lampstand. These bulbs and branches shall be seamlessly integrated, forming a single, unified piece. The entire lampstand shall be crafted from one piece of hammered, pure gold. Then, 7 lamps shall be meticulously fashioned and mounted atop the lampstand, designed to cast their light forward, illuminating the space before it with a radiant glow. The snuffers and their accompanying trays, essential for maintaining the lamps, shall also be made of pure gold. The entire lampstand, along with all its implements, shall be crafted from a talent of pure gold, adhering strictly to the design that was revealed to you on the mountain. Ensure that your craftsmanship perfectly reflects that divine blueprint. Now you shall construct the boards for the tabernacle, using acacia wood, and setting them upright. Each board shall measure 10 cubits in length and 1.5 cubits in width. Each board shall have 2 tenons, precisely fitted to join with one another. This method shall be employed for all the boards of the tabernacle. Specifically, you shall create 20 boards for the south side of the tabernacle. Beneath these 20 boards, you shall place 40 sockets of silver, arranging 2 sockets under each board to accommodate its 2 tenons. Likewise, for the second side of the tabernacle, the north side, you shall prepare 20 boards and 40 sockets of silver, again with 2 sockets beneath each board. For the rear of the tabernacle, facing westward, you shall construct 6 boards. Additionally, you shall make 2 boards for the corners of the tabernacle at the rear. These corner boards shall be doubled in thickness at the bottom and shall extend in their doubled form to the top, reaching the first ring. This design shall be replicated for both corner boards. These 2 boards shall form the 2 corners of the tabernacle's rear. In total, there shall be 8 boards at the rear, supported by 16 sockets of silver, with 2 sockets under each board. Then you shall fashion bars of acacia wood, 5 bars for the boards on one side of the tabernacle, 5 bars for the boards on the opposite side, and 5 bars for the boards on the rear side, facing west. The middle bar, positioned at the center of the boards, shall run continuously from one end of the tabernacle side to the other, providing structural integrity. You shall overlay the boards with gold and create gold rings to serve as holders for the bars. The bars themselves shall also be overlaid with gold, ensuring a harmonious and precious aesthetic. Finally, you shall erect the tabernacle according to the plan that has been shown to you on the mountain, ensuring that every detail aligns with the divinely ordained design. You shall also construct the court of the tabernacle. On the south side, hangings of finely twisted linen shall stretch for 100 cubits in length. These hangings shall be supported by 20 pillars, set into 20 sockets of bronze. The hooks of the pillars and their connecting bands shall be made of silver, adding to the court's refined appearance. The north side shall mirror the south, with hangings of 100 cubits in length, supported by 20 pillars and 20 sockets of bronze. The hooks and bands of these pillars shall also be of silver. For the width of the court on the west side, hangings of 50 cubits shall be erected, supported by 10 pillars and 10 sockets. Similarly, the width of the court on the east side shall be 50 cubits. The hangings for one side of the gate shall extend for 15 cubits, supported by 3 pillars and 3 sockets. And for the other side of the gate, hangings of 15 cubits shall be erected, supported by 3 pillars and 3 sockets. The gate of the court shall feature a screen of 20 cubits, crafted from blue, purple, and scarlet material, along with fine twisted linen, the work of a skilled weaver. This screen shall be supported by 4 pillars and 4 sockets. All the pillars surrounding the court shall be adorned with silver bands, featuring silver hooks, and set into sockets of bronze, creating a cohesive and elegant enclosure. The overall length of the court shall be 100 cubits, with a width of 50 cubits throughout, and a height of 5 cubits, achieved with finely twisted linen and sockets of bronze. All the utensils used within the tabernacle for its various services, as well as all its pegs and the pegs of the court, shall be made of bronze, ensuring durability and practicality. You shall command the sons of Israel to bring you clear oil from crushed olives for the light, to keep a lamp burning continually. This lamp shall be placed outside the veil that hangs before the ark of the testimony, within the tent of meeting. Aaron and his sons shall be responsible for maintaining it in order, from evening until morning before the Lord. This shall be a perpetual statute, observed throughout their generations by the sons of Israel, demonstrating their commitment to divine service. Then, bring near to yourself Aaron your brother, along with his sons, drawn from among the sons of Israel, that they may minister to me as priests. These are Aaron, Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar, Aaron's sons. You shall create holy garments for Aaron your brother, garments that reflect glory and beauty. Speak to all the skilled artisans whom I have imbued with the spirit of wisdom, instructing them to create Aaron's garments for his consecration, so that he may minister to me as priest. These are the garments they shall make: a breastpiece, an ephod, a robe, a tunic of checkered work, a turban, and a sash. They shall create these holy garments for Aaron your brother and his sons, enabling them to minister to me as priests. They shall use gold, blue, purple, and scarlet material, along with fine linen, to craft these sacred vestments. They shall also create the ephod from gold, blue, purple, and scarlet material, and fine twisted linen, employing the skilled craftsmanship of experienced artisans. It shall have 2 shoulder pieces, joined to its 2 ends, providing structural integrity and a seamless fit. The skillfully woven band that adorns it shall be of the same material and workmanship: gold, blue, purple, and scarlet material, and fine twisted linen. You shall obtain 2 onyx stones and engrave upon them the names of the sons of Israel. 6 of their names shall be inscribed on one stone, and the names of the remaining 6 shall be inscribed on the other, arranged according to their birth order. As a jeweler skillfully engraves a signet ring, so shall you engrave the 2 stones with the names of the sons of Israel paying meticulous attention to detail. You shall set these stones in intricate filigree settings of gold, enhancing their beauty and significance. You shall affix these 2 stones to the shoulder pieces of the ephod, serving as stones of memorial for the sons of Israel. Aaron shall bear their names before the Lord on his 2 shoulders, serving as a lasting remembrance. You shall create filigree settings of gold and 2 chains of pure gold. These chains shall be crafted in a twisted cordage design, adding to their visual appeal and strength. You shall attach the corded chains to the filigree settings, creating a secure and elegant connection. You shall create a breastpiece of judgment, employing the skillful craftsmanship of experienced artisans. It shall be made in the same manner as the ephod, using gold, blue, purple, and scarlet material, and fine twisted linen. It shall be square in shape and folded double, measuring a span in length and a span in width. You shall adorn it with 4 rows of precious stones. The first row shall consist of a ruby, a topaz, and an emerald. The second row shall feature a turquoise, a sapphire, and a diamond. The third row shall include a jacinth, an agate, and an amethyst. And the fourth row shall be adorned with a beryl, an onyx, and a jasper. These stones shall be set in gold filigree settings, ensuring their secure placement and enhancing their brilliance. The stones shall be arranged according to the names of the sons of Israel, 12 in total, each representing one of the 12 tribes. They shall be engraved like the engravings of a seal, each stone bearing the name of its corresponding tribe, signifying their unique identity and heritage. You shall create chains of twisted cordage work in pure gold, and attach them to the breastpiece, adding to its splendor. You shall create 2 rings of gold and affix them to the 2 ends of the breastpiece, providing attachment points for the chains. You shall attach the 2 cords of gold to the 2 rings at the ends of the breastpiece, creating a secure and visually appealing connection. The other 2 ends of the 2 cords shall be attached to the 2 filigree settings, which are then placed on the shoulder pieces of the ephod, at the front of it, ensuring a balanced and elegant design. You shall create 2 rings of gold and place them on the 2 ends of the breastpiece, on the edge that faces the inner side of the ephod, ensuring a close and secure fit. You shall create 2 rings of gold and attach them to the bottom of the 2 shoulder pieces of the ephod, on the front of it, close to the point where it joins above the skillfully woven band of the ephod, maintaining the garment's structural integrity. The breastpiece shall be bound to the rings of the ephod with a blue cord, ensuring that it rests securely on the skillfully woven band of the ephod and does not become detached, creating a seamless and harmonious garment. Aaron shall carry the names of the sons of Israel on the breastpiece of judgment over his heart whenever he enters the holy place, serving as a continuous memorial before the Lord. You shall place the Urim and the Thummim in the breastpiece of judgment, ensuring they are over Aaron's heart whenever he goes in before the Lord, allowing him to seek divine guidance and make righteous judgments. And Aaron shall carry the judgment of the sons of Israel over his heart before the Lord continually, demonstrating his commitment to justice and divine law. You shall create the robe of the ephod entirely of blue, symbolizing heavenly grace and divine favor. There shall be an opening at the top of the robe in the middle of it, allowing it to be easily slipped over the head. Around the opening, there shall be a binding of woven work, similar to the opening of a coat of mail, preventing it from tearing and ensuring its durability. You shall adorn the hem of the robe with pomegranates of blue, purple, and scarlet material, alternating them around the entire hem, creating a visually striking and symbolic border. Between each pomegranate, you shall attach a golden bell, adding to the robe's beauty and symbolic significance. A golden bell and a pomegranate shall be placed alternately around the entire hem of the robe, creating a rhythmic and visually appealing pattern. Aaron shall wear this robe whenever he ministers, and the tinkling of the bells shall be heard when he enters and leaves the holy place before the Lord, signifying his presence and reverence. This serves as a reminder of the sacredness of his role, preventing him from incurring divine wrath and dying. You shall also create a plate of pure gold, and engrave upon it, as with the engraving of a seal, the words "Holy to the Lord," signifying its sacred purpose and dedication. You shall fasten this plate to a blue cord, and it shall be placed on the turban, prominently displayed at the front. It shall be positioned on Aaron's forehead, symbolizing his consecration and devotion to the Lord. Aaron shall bear away the iniquity associated with the holy things that the sons of Israel consecrate with their holy gifts, ensuring their acceptance before God. This plate shall always be displayed on his forehead, signifying his role as intercessor and purifier. You shall weave the tunic of checkered work from fine linen, creating a garment of quality and elegance. You shall also create a turban of fine linen, signifying purity and devotion. Finally, you shall create a sash, employing the skilled work of a weaver, adding to the tunic's overall beauty and functionality. For Aaron's sons, you shall create tunics, symbolizing their priestly roles and responsibilities. You shall also create sashes for them, signifying their authority and commitment to divine service. And you shall create caps for them, enhancing their appearance and signifying their priestly status. You shall place these garments on Aaron your brother and on his sons who are with him, bestowing upon them the symbols of their office. You shall anoint them, ordain them, and consecrate them, preparing them to serve me as priests. You shall create linen undergarments for them, to cover their naked flesh, ensuring modesty and reverence in their service. These undergarments shall extend from their loins to their thighs, providing ample coverage. They shall be worn by Aaron and his sons whenever they enter the tent of meeting or when they approach the altar to minister in the holy place, preventing them from incurring guilt and dying. These garments shall be a constant reminder of their sacred duty. This shall be a statute forever, applying to him and to his descendants after him, ensuring the continuity of the priestly lineage and the sanctity of their service. Moreover, you shall construct an altar to serve as a place for burning incense, a fragrant offering to the Lord. This altar shall be made of acacia wood, known for its durability and resistance to decay. Its length shall be 1 cubit, and its width shall be 1 cubit, making it square in shape. Its height shall be 2 cubits, elevating it above the surrounding space. Its horns, symbolizing power and authority, shall be of one piece with it, seamlessly integrated into the altar's design. You shall overlay the altar with pure gold, covering its top, its sides all around, and its horns, enhancing its beauty and signifying its sacredness. And you shall create a gold molding all around it, adding to its visual appeal and providing a protective border. You shall create 2 gold rings for the altar, positioning them under its molding, on its 2 side walls on opposite sides, providing attachment points for carrying poles. These rings shall serve as holders for the poles with which to carry the altar, allowing it to be transported with reverence and ease. You shall make the poles of acacia wood, and overlay them with gold, ensuring their strength and complementing the altar's overall design. You shall place this altar in front of the veil that is near the Ark of the Testimony, positioning it before the mercy seat that is over the Ark of the Testimony, the place where I will meet with you, communing with you and revealing my will. Aaron shall burn fragrant incense on this altar, creating a pleasing aroma that ascends to the heavens. He shall burn it every morning when he trims the lamps, ensuring a continuous offering of fragrance. When Aaron trims the lamps at twilight, he shall also burn incense, maintaining the perpetual offering throughout the day and night. There shall be perpetual incense burning before the Lord throughout your generations, a constant reminder of your devotion and a symbol of your prayers ascending to heaven. You shall not offer any strange incense on this altar, nor shall you offer any burnt offering or meal offering, preserving its purity and dedicating it solely to the burning of fragrant incense. And you shall not pour out a drink offering on it, maintaining its distinct purpose and preventing any commingling of offerings. Aaron shall make atonement on its horns once a year, cleansing them and renewing their sacredness. He shall make atonement on it with the blood of the sin offering of atonement, performing this ritual once a year throughout your generations, demonstrating your commitment to seeking forgiveness and maintaining a right relationship with God. It is most holy to the Lord, reserved for the most sacred of purposes and treated with the utmost reverence. The Lord also spoke to Moses, saying, When you take a census of the sons of Israel to number them, you shall proceed with caution and reverence. Then each one of them shall give a ransom for himself to the Lord when you number them, acknowledging their dependence on God's grace and protection. This offering will serve as a safeguard, so that there will be no plague among them when you number them, demonstrating God's mercy and averting potential judgment. This is what everyone who is numbered shall give, an offering of gratitude and atonement. Half a shekel, according to the shekel of the sanctuary, shall be the standard offering, acknowledging the sanctity of the temple and the importance of contributing to its maintenance. The shekel is equivalent to 20 gerahs, providing a standardized measure for the offering. Each person shall offer half a shekel as a contribution to the Lord, demonstrating their commitment to supporting the work of the sanctuary and seeking atonement for their sins. Everyone who is numbered, from 20 years old and over, shall give this contribution to the Lord, signifying their adulthood and their responsibility to participate in the religious life of the community. The rich shall not pay more, recognizing the equality of all before God, and the poor shall not pay less, emphasizing their equal value and opportunity to contribute. When you give this contribution to the Lord, it serves to make atonement for yourselves, cleansing you from sin and restoring your relationship with God. You shall take the atonement money from the sons of Israel and give it for the service of the tent of meeting, supporting the ministry of the priests and the upkeep of the sacred space. This contribution will serve as a memorial for the sons of Israel before the Lord, a constant reminder of their commitment to seeking atonement and maintaining a right relationship with God, ensuring their ongoing favor and blessing. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "You shall also make a laver of bronze, with its base of bronze for washing, providing a place for purification and ritual cleansing. You shall put it between the tent of meeting and the altar, placing it strategically for the priests to access before entering the sacred space. You shall put water in it, providing the essential element for purification and spiritual cleansing. Aaron and his sons shall wash their hands and their feet from it, signifying their commitment to cleanliness and holiness before approaching God. When they enter the tent of meeting, they shall wash with water, cleansing themselves from any defilement they may have encountered in the outside world. This act of washing will prevent them from dying, emphasizing the importance of purity and obedience in approaching the divine presence. Or when they approach the altar to minister by offering up in smoke a fire sacrifice to the Lord, demonstrating their devotion and seeking atonement for their sins. So they shall wash their hands and their feet, symbolically cleansing themselves before presenting their offerings. This act will prevent them from dying, underscoring the importance of reverence and purity in approaching God's altar. And it shall be a perpetual statute for them, for Aaron and his descendants throughout their generations, ensuring the consistent practice of ritual cleansing and the ongoing commitment to holiness in priestly service. Moreover, the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Take also for yourself the finest of spices, selecting those that are most fragrant and pleasing to the senses. Of flowing myrrh, take 500 shekels, a significant quantity, signifying the richness and abundance of God's grace. And of fragrant cinnamon, take half as much, 250 shekels, balancing the aroma and creating a harmonious blend. And of fragrant cane, take 250 shekels, contributing its unique scent to the overall composition. And of cassia, take 500 shekels, according to the shekel of the sanctuary, adhering to the standardized measure and acknowledging the sanctity of the ingredients. And of olive oil, take a hin, a substantial amount, serving as the base and carrier for the spices. You shall make of these a holy anointing oil, a sacred mixture reserved for consecrating objects and individuals for divine service. This oil shall be a perfume mixture, the work of a perfumer, requiring skill and precision to create a harmonious and pleasing scent. It shall be a holy anointing oil, set apart for sacred purposes and treated with the utmost reverence. With it, you shall anoint the tent of meeting, consecrating it for God's presence and setting it apart for divine worship. And you shall anoint the ark of the testimony, recognizing its central importance and signifying its role as the dwelling place of God's presence. And the table and all its utensils, dedicating them to sacred service and ensuring their purity. And the lampstand and its utensils, illuminating the holy place and symbolizing God's presence. And the altar of incense, dedicating it to the fragrant offering that ascends to heaven. And the altar of burnt offering, consecrating it for the sacrifice that atones for sin. And all its utensils, ensuring their purity and dedication to sacred service. And the laver, and its stand, dedicating them to the ritual cleansing that prepares priests for divine service. You shall also consecrate them, setting them apart for sacred use and ensuring their purity. They shall be most holy, reserved for the most sacred purposes and treated with the utmost reverence. Whatever touches them shall be holy, emphasizing the importance of protecting their purity and preventing any defilement. You shall anoint Aaron and his sons, consecrating them for their priestly service and setting them apart for divine ministry. This anointing will empower them to minister as priests to me, fulfilling their sacred calling and representing the people before God. You shall speak to the sons of Israel, saying, "This shall be a holy anointing oil to me throughout your generations, reserved exclusively for sacred purposes and treated with the utmost reverence. It shall not be poured on anyone's body, emphasizing its sacredness and preventing its misuse for personal gain. Nor shall you make any like it in the same proportions, preserving its unique composition and preventing unauthorized duplication. It is holy, and it shall be holy to you, emphasizing its sacredness and commanding reverence and respect. Whoever shall mix any like it, attempting to create a similar mixture, or whoever puts any of it on a layman, using it for unauthorized purposes, shall be cut off from his people, facing divine judgment and expulsion from the community." Then the Lord said to Moses, "Take for yourself spices, selecting those that are most fragrant and pleasing to the senses. Stacte and onycha and galbanum, spices known for their unique aromas and healing properties. Combine these spices with pure frankincense, a fragrant resin that symbolizes purity and devotion. There shall be an equal part of each, ensuring a balanced and harmonious blend of aromas. With it you shall make incense, a fragrant offering that ascends to heaven and pleases the divine senses. This incense shall be a perfume, the work of a perfumer, requiring skill and precision to create a pleasing and sacred aroma. It shall be salted, preserving its fragrance and preventing decay. It shall be pure, free from any defilement or impurity, and it shall be holy, set apart for sacred purposes and treated with the utmost reverence. You shall beat some of it very fine, grinding it into a powder to enhance its fragrance and facilitate its burning, and put part of it before the testimony in the tent of meeting, placing it in the most sacred space, near the Ark of the Covenant. This is where I will meet with you, communing with you and revealing my will. It shall be most holy to you, reserved for the most sacred purposes and treated with the utmost reverence. The incense which you shall not make in the same proportions for yourselves, emphasizing its sacredness and preventing its misuse for personal gain. It shall be holy to you for the Lord, dedicated exclusively to divine worship and treated with the utmost reverence. Whoever shall make any like it to use as perfume, attempting to create a similar fragrance for personal enjoyment, shall be cut off from his people, facing divine judgment and expulsion from the community. Now the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "See, I have called by name Bezalel, the son of Uri, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah, singling him out for a special purpose and bestowing upon him divine gifts. I have filled him with the Spirit of God, empowering him with divine wisdom, understanding, knowledge, and all kinds of craftsmanship, enabling him to excel in various artistic and technical skills. He is skilled to make artistic designs for work in gold, in silver, and in bronze, utilizing precious metals to create beautiful and functional objects. He is adept at cutting stones for settings, transforming raw gems into exquisite adornments, and he is skilled in the carving of wood, shaping raw timber into intricate designs and functional forms. He is able to work in all kinds of craftsmanship, possessing the versatility and skill to execute a wide range of tasks. And behold, I myself have appointed with him Aholiab, the son of Ahisamach of the tribe of Dan, providing him with a skilled assistant and ensuring the successful completion of the work. And in the hearts of all who are skillful, I have put skill, empowering them with the talent and ability to contribute to the construction of the tabernacle. They may make all that I have commanded you, ensuring that the tabernacle is built according to my precise specifications. They shall construct the tent of meeting, the central place of worship and communion with God, and the ark of testimony, the sacred chest containing the 10 Commandments, and the mercy seat upon it, the place of atonement and divine presence, and all the furniture of the tent, ensuring that the tabernacle is fully equipped for worship. They shall also construct the table and its utensils, providing a place for the display of the bread of the presence, and the pure gold lampstand, with all its utensils, illuminating the holy place with divine light, and the altar of incense, providing a place for the fragrant offering that ascends to heaven, the altar of burnt offering also, with all its utensils, dedicating it to the sacrifice that atones for sin, and the laver and its stand, providing a place for the ritual cleansing of the priests, the woven garments as well, the intricate vestments worn by the priests, and the holy garments for Aaron the priest, the elaborate and symbolic attire that signifies his authority and holiness, and the garments of his sons, with which to carry on their priesthood, ensuring the continuity of sacred service. The anointing oil also, the sacred oil used to consecrate objects and individuals for divine service, and the fragrant incense for the holy place, creating a pleasing aroma that ascends to heaven and pleases the divine senses. They are to make them according to all that I have commanded you, adhering to my precise instructions and ensuring the faithful execution of my divine plan. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "But as for you, speak to the sons of Israel, conveying my commands and ensuring their obedience. You shall surely observe my Sabbaths, setting aside this day for rest and worship, acknowledging my sovereignty and expressing your devotion. For this is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, a perpetual reminder of our covenant relationship. This sign serves to remind you that you may know that I am the Lord who sanctifies you, setting you apart for holy purposes and enabling you to live a life pleasing to me. Therefore, you are to observe the Sabbath, for it is holy to you, treating it with reverence and respect. Everyone who profanes it, violating its sacredness and engaging in forbidden activities, shall surely be put to death, facing divine judgment for their disobedience. For whoever does any work on it, engaging in labor or commerce, that person shall be cut off from among his people, facing expulsion from the community and separation from God's favor. For 6 days work may be done, providing ample time for labor and productivity. But on the 7th day there is a Sabbath of complete rest, a time for ceasing from labor and focusing on spiritual renewal. This Sabbath is holy to the Lord, set apart for divine purposes and treated with the utmost reverence. Whoever does any work on the Sabbath day, violating its sacredness and engaging in forbidden activities, shall surely be put to death, facing divine judgment for their disobedience. So the sons of Israel shall observe the Sabbath, celebrating the Sabbath throughout their generations, a perpetual covenant with me, demonstrating their commitment to honoring my commands. It is a sign between me and the sons of Israel forever, a lasting reminder of our covenant relationship and a symbol of their devotion. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, creating the universe and all that is in it. But on the 7th day he ceased from labor and was refreshed, setting an example for humanity to follow and providing a pattern for rest and renewal. When he had finished speaking with him upon Mount Sinai, concluding the giving of the law and establishing the covenant relationship, he gave Moses the 2 tablets of the testimony, tablets of stone written by the finger of God, signifying their divine origin and their authority. Now when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down from the mountain, they grew impatient and restless, questioning his fate and doubting his ability to lead them. The people assembled about Aaron, gathering around him with a sense of anxiety and uncertainty, and said to him, "Come, make us a god who will go before us," filling the void left by Moses' absence and providing a tangible symbol of their faith. As for this Moses, the man who brought us up from the land of Egypt, leading us out of slavery and guiding us through the wilderness, we do not know what has become of him, expressing their frustration and uncertainty about his fate. They confessed their ignorance of Moses' fate, leaving a void of leadership and spiritual direction. Aaron, seizing upon this moment of uncertainty and spiritual vulnerability, addressed the assembled Israelites. "Tear off the gold rings which are in the ears of your wives, your sons, and your daughters, and bring them to me." His request, seemingly simple, was a calculated move. Gold, a symbol of wealth and status, also represented a tangible sacrifice, a commitment to a new, albeit misguided, path. And the people, swayed by their fears and the charismatic authority of Aaron, complied. Then all the people tore off the gold rings which were in their ears and brought them to Aaron. He took this from their hand and fashioned it with a graving tool and made it into a molten calf. The golden calf, shimmering under the desert sun, became the focal point of their misplaced devotion. And they proclaimed, "This is your God, O Israel, who brought you up from the land of Egypt." Aaron, witnessing the success of his deception, sought to solidify his position and further entrench the idolatrous practice. Now when Aaron saw this, he built an altar before it. And Aaron made a proclamation and said, "Tomorrow shall be a feast to the Lord." So the next day they rose early and offered burnt offerings and brought peace offerings. And the people sat down to eat and to drink and rose up to play. Their revelry, a grotesque parody of true worship, reached a fever pitch, a chaotic blend of feasting, drinking, and unrestrained dancing before the golden idol. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, who remained on Mount Sinai, oblivious to the unfolding betrayal below. "This go down at once, for your people, whom you brought up from the land of Egypt, have corrupted themselves. They have quickly turned aside from the way which I commanded them. They have made for themselves a molten calf and have worshipped it and have sacrificed to it and said, 'This is your God, O Israel, who brought you up from the land of Egypt.'" The Lord revealed the extent of the Israelites' transgression, their swift descent into idolatry and their rejection of the covenant. The Lord said to Moses, "I have seen this people, and behold, they are an obstinate people. Now then, let me alone, that my anger may burn against them, and that I may destroy them, and I will make of you a great nation." God, in his righteous anger, threatened to unleash his full wrath upon the unfaithful Israelites, offering Moses a chance to become the progenitor of a new, chosen nation. Then Moses, interceding on behalf of his people, entreated the Lord his God, "O Lord, why does your anger burn against your people, whom you have brought out from the land of Egypt with great power and with a mighty hand? Why should the Egyptians speak, saying, 'With evil intent, he brought them out to kill them in the mountains and to destroy them from the face of the earth'? Turn from your burning anger and change your mind about doing harm to your people. Remember Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, your servants, to whom you swore by yourself and said to them, 'I will multiply your descendants as the stars of the heavens, and all this land of which I have spoken, I will give to your descendants, and they shall inherit it forever.'" Moses pleaded with God, reminding him of his covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, and appealing to his mercy and compassion. He argued that destroying the Israelites would bring shame upon God's name, allowing the Egyptians to claim that he had led them out of Egypt only to perish in the wilderness. So the Lord changed his mind about the harm which he said he would do to his people. God, moved by Moses' impassioned plea, relented and chose to spare the Israelites from immediate annihilation. Then Moses turned and went down from the mountain with the 2 tablets of the testimony in his hand, tablets which were written on both sides. They were written on one side and the other. The tablets were God's work, and the writing was God's writing engraved on the tablets. Moses descended from the mountain, carrying the stone tablets inscribed with the 10 Commandments, symbols of the covenant between God and Israel. Now when Joshua heard the sound of the people as they shouted, he said to Moses, "There is a sound of war in the camp." But he said, "It is not the sound of the cry of triumph, nor is it the sound of the cry of defeat, but the sound of singing I hear." Joshua, ever vigilant, mistook the raucous celebration for the sounds of battle, but Moses, with a clearer understanding of the situation, recognized the true nature of the Israelites' transgression. It came about as soon as Moses came near the camp that he saw the calf and the dancing. And Moses' anger burned, and he threw the tablets from his hands, and shattered them at the foot of the mountain. He took the calf which they had made, and burned it with fire, and ground it to powder, and scattered it over the surface of the water, and made the sons of Israel drink it. Moses, upon witnessing the idolatrous revelry firsthand, was consumed by righteous anger. In a dramatic display of his fury and disappointment, He hurled the stone tablets to the ground, shattering them into pieces, symbolizing the broken covenant. He then destroyed the golden calf, grinding it into powder and forcing the Israelites to drink the contaminated water, a humiliating act intended to purge them of their sin. Then Moses said to Aaron, "What did this people do to you that you have brought such great sin upon them?" Moses confronted Aaron, demanding an explanation for his role in leading the Israelites astray. "Do not let the anger of my Lord burn. You know the people yourself that they are prone to evil. For they said to me, 'Make a god for us who will go before us.' For this Moses, the man who brought us up from the land of Egypt, we do not know what has become of him. I said to them, 'Whoever has any gold, let them tear it off.' So they gave it to me, and I threw it into the fire, and out came this calf." Aaron, in a weak attempt to deflect blame, claimed that he was merely responding to the people's demands, and that the creation of the golden calf was an unintended consequence of throwing their gold into the fire. Now when Moses saw that the people were out of control, for Aaron had let them get out of control to be a derision among their enemies, then Moses stood in the gate of the camp and said, "Whoever is for the Lord, come to me." And all the sons of Levi gathered together to him. Seeing that the situation was spiraling out of control and that the Israelites were becoming a laughingstock to their enemies, Moses took decisive action. He called upon those who remained loyal to the Lord to stand with him. "Thus says the Lord, the God of Israel, every man of you put his sword upon his thigh and go back and forth from gate to gate in the camp and kill every man his brother and every man his friend and every man his neighbor." He issued a stern command, instructing the Levites to execute those who had participated in the idolatrous worship, even if they were family members or close friends. So the sons of Levi did as Moses instructed, and about 3,000 men of the people fell that day. Then Moses said, "Dedicate yourselves today to the Lord, for every man has been against his son and against his brother in order that he may bestow a blessing upon you today." He declared that the Levites, by carrying out God's judgment, had consecrated themselves to the Lord and would receive a blessing for their obedience. On the next day, Moses said to the people, "You yourselves have committed a great sin, and now I am going up to the Lord. Perhaps I can make atonement for your sin." Acknowledging the severity of their transgression, Moses announced his intention to ascend Mount Sinai once more to plead with God for forgiveness on behalf of the Israelites. Then Moses returned to the Lord and said, "Alas, this people has committed a great sin, and they have made a god of gold for themselves. But now, if you will, forgive their sin, and if not, please blot me out from your book which you have written." Moses, in a selfless act of intercession, offered to sacrifice his own place in God's book of life if necessary to secure forgiveness for his people. The Lord said to Moses, "Whoever has sinned against me, I will blot him out of my book. But go now, lead the people where I told you. Behold, my angel shall go before you. Nevertheless, in the day when I punish, I will punish them for their sin." God, while acknowledging the Israelites' sin, reaffirmed his commitment to lead them to the promised land, but warned that he would eventually punish them for their transgression. Then the Lord smote the people because of what they did with the calf which Aaron had made. The Lord sent a plague upon the Israelites as a consequence of their idolatry, a visible manifestation of his displeasure. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, "Depart, go up from here, you and the people whom you have brought up from the land of Egypt, to the land of which I swore to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, saying, 'To your descendants I will give it.' I will send an angel before you, and I will drive out the Canaanite, the Amorite, the Hittite, the Perizzite, the Hivite, and the Jebusite. Go up to a land flowing with milk and honey. For I will not go up in your midst because you are an obstinate people, and I might destroy you on the way." God instructed Moses to lead the Israelites to the promised land, but declared that he would no longer travel in their midst, lest his anger be kindled and he destroy them. He would send an angel to guide them and drive out their enemies. When the people heard this sad word, they went into mourning, and none of them put on his ornaments. For the Lord had said to Moses, "Say to the sons of Israel, you are an obstinate people. Should I go up in your midst for one moment, I would destroy you. Now therefore put off your ornaments from you, that I may know what I shall do with you." The Israelites, upon hearing that God would no longer dwell among them, were filled with grief and remorse. They removed their ornaments as a sign of mourning and repentance. So the sons of Israel stripped themselves of their ornaments from Mount Horeb onward. Now Moses used to take the tent and pitch it outside the camp, a good distance from the camp, and he called it the tent of meeting. And everyone who sought the Lord would go out to the tent of meeting which was outside the camp. Moses, in response to God's withdrawal, moved the tent of meeting outside the camp, creating a space for those who sought to commune with the Lord. And it came about whenever Moses went out to the tent that all the people would arise and stand each at the entrance of his tent and gaze after Moses until he entered the tent. Whenever Moses entered the tent, the pillar of cloud would descend and stand at the entrance of the tent, and the Lord would speak with Moses. The Israelites, yearning for God's presence, would watch Moses as he went to the tent of meeting, and the pillar of cloud would descend as a sign of God's presence. When all the people saw the pillar of cloud standing at the entrance of the tent, all the people would arise and worship, each at the entrance of his tent. Thus the Lord used to speak to Moses face to face just as a man speaks to his friend. The people would worship God from a distance, recognizing the separation caused by their sin, while Moses continued to enjoy a close and intimate relationship with the Lord. When Moses returned to the camp, his servant Joshua, the son of Nun, a young man, would not depart from the tent. Then Moses said to the Lord, "See, you say to me, 'Bring up this people,' but you yourself have not let me know whom you will send with me. Moreover, you have said, 'I have known you by name, and you have also found favor in my sight.' Now therefore, I pray you, if I have found favor in your sight, let me know your ways that I may know you, so that I may find favor in your sight. Consider, too, that this nation is your people." Moses, despite God's reassurances, felt a sense of uncertainty and pleaded with the Lord to reveal his plans and confirm his continued favor. And he said, "My presence shall go with you, and I will give you rest." God reaffirmed his promise to be with Moses and to grant him rest. Then he said to him, "If your presence does not go with us, do not lead us up from here. For how then can it be known that I have found favor in your sight, I and your people? Is it not by your going with us, so that I and your people, may be distinguished from all the other people who are upon the face of the earth?" Moses, emphasizing the importance of God's presence, declared that he would not lead the Israelites any further without the Lord's assurance that he would continue to be with them. The Lord said to Moses, "I will also do this thing of which you have spoken, for you have found favor in my sight, and I have known you by name." God, moved by Moses' persistence and faithfulness, promised to grant his request. Then Moses said, "I pray you, show me your glory." Moses, emboldened by God's favor, requested a glimpse of his glory. And he said, "I myself will make all my goodness pass before you and will proclaim the name of the Lord before you. And I will be gracious to whom I will be gracious and will show compassion on whom I will show compassion." But he said, "You cannot see my face, for no man can see me and live." God, while willing to reveal his goodness, explained that it was impossible for mortal man to gaze upon his face and survive. Then the Lord said, "Behold, there is a place by me, and you shall stand there on the rock, and it will come about while my glory is passing by, that I will put you in the cliff of the rock and cover you with my hand until I have passed by. Then I will take my hand away and you shall see my back, but my face shall not be seen." God, in his infinite wisdom, devised a way to grant Moses a limited glimpse of his glory, shielding him from the full force of his presence. Now the Lord said to Moses, "Cut out for yourself 2 stone tablets like the former ones, and I will write on the tablets the words that were on the former tablets which you shattered. So be ready by morning and come up in the morning to Mount Si and present yourself there to me on the top of the mountain. No man is to come up with you, nor let any man be seen anywhere on the mountain. Even the flocks and the herds may not graze in front of that mountain." God commanded Moses to prepare 2 new stone tablets, promising to reinscribe them with the 10 Commandments. So he cut out 2 stone tablets like the former ones. And Moses rose up early in the morning and went up to Mount Si as the Lord had commanded him. And he took 2 stone tablets in his hand. The Lord descended in the cloud and stood there with him as he called upon the name of the Lord. Moses, obedient to God's command, ascended Mount Sinai once more, carrying the newly prepared stone tablets. Then the Lord passed by in front of him and proclaimed, the Lord God, compassionate and gracious, slow to anger and abounding in loving kindness and truth, who keeps loving kindness for thousands, who forgives iniquity, transgression, and sin. Yet he will by no means leave the guilty unpunished, visiting the iniquity of fathers on the children and on the grandchildren to the third and fourth generations. God revealed his character to Moses, proclaiming his attributes of compassion, grace, loving kindness, truth, and justice. Moses made haste to bow low toward the earth and worship. He said, "If now I have found favor in your sight, O Lord, I pray, let the Lord go along in our midst, even though the people are so obstinate, and pardon our iniquity and our sin, and take us as your own possession." Moses, overwhelmed by God's glory and grace, bowed in worship and pleaded for God's continued presence among the Israelites, despite their obstinacy. Then God said, "And all the people among whom you live will see the working of the Lord, for it is a fearful thing that I am going to perform with you. Be sure to observe what I am commanding you this day. Behold, I am going to drive out the Amorite before you, and the Canaanite, the Hittite, the Perizzite, the Hivite, and the Jebusite. Watch yourself that you make no covenant with the inhabitants of the land into which you are going, or it will become a snare in your midst. But rather you are to tear down their altars and smash their sacred pillars and cut down their Asherim. For you shall not worship any other god. For the Lord, whose name is jealous, is a jealous God. Otherwise you might make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land, and they would play the harlot with their gods and sacrifice to their gods. And someone might invite you to eat of his sacrifice, and you might take some of his daughters for your sons. And his daughters might play the harlot with their gods, and cause your sons also to play the harlot with their gods. You shall make for yourself no molten gods. You shall observe the feast of unleavened bread. For 7 days you are to eat unleavened bread, as I commanded you at the appointed time in the month of Abib. For in the month of Ab you came out of Egypt. The first offspring from every womb belongs to me. He and all your male livestock, the first offspring from cattle and sheep. You shall redeem with a lamb the first offspring from a donkey. And if you do not redeem it, then you shall break its neck. You shall redeem all the firstborn of your sons. None shall appear before me empty-handed. You shall work 6 days, but on the 7th day you shall rest. Even during plowing time and harvest you shall rest. You shall celebrate the Feast of Weeks, that is the first fruits of the wheat harvest, and the Feast of Ingathering at the turn of the year. 3 times a year all your males are to appear before the Lord God, the God of Israel. For I will drive out nations before you and enlarge your borders. And no man shall covet your land when you go up 3 times a year to appear before the Lord your God. You shall not offer the blood of my sacrifice with leavened bread, nor is the sacrifice of the feast of the Passover to be left over until morning. You shall bring the very first of the first fruits of your soil into the house of the Lord your God. You shall not boil a young goat in its mother's milk. God, in his renewed covenant with Israel, reiterated his commandments, emphasizing the importance of avoiding idolatry, observing his appointed feasts, and offering him the first fruits of their labor. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Write down these words, for in accordance with these words, I have made a covenant with you and with Israel." God instructed Moses to record the terms of the covenant in writing. So he was there with the Lord 40 days and 40 nights. He did not eat bread or drink water. And he wrote on the tablets the words of the covenant, the 10 Commandments. Moses spent another 40 days and nights on Mount Sinai, fasting and writing the words of the covenant on the stone tablets. It came about when Moses was coming down from Mount Sinai, and the 2 tablets of the testimony were in Moses' hand as he was coming down from the mountain, that Moses did not know that the skin of his face shone because of his speaking with him. When Moses descended from the mountain, his face shone with a radiant glow, a visible manifestation of his communion with God. So when Aaron and all the sons of Israel saw Moses, behold, the skin of his face shone, and they were afraid to come near him. Then Moses called to them, And Aaron and all the rulers in the congregation returned to him, and Moses spoke to them. Afterward, all the sons of Israel came near, and he commanded them to do everything that the Lord had spoken to him on Mount Sinai. The Israelites, awestruck by the radiance of Moses' face, hesitated to approach him, but Moses reassured them and conveyed God's commandments. When Moses had finished speaking with them, he put a veil over his face. But whenever Moses went in before the Lord to speak with him, he would take off the veil until he came out. And whenever he came out and spoke to the sons of Israel what he had been commanded, the sons of Israel would see the face of Moses, that the skin of Moses' face shone. So Moses would replace the veil over his face until he went in to speak with him. Moses, to avoid overwhelming the Israelites, began to wear a veil to conceal the radiance of his face, removing it only when he entered God's presence. Then Moses assembled all the congregation of the sons of Israel and said to them, "These are the things that the Lord has commanded you to do. For 6 days' work may be done, but on the 7th day you shall have a holy day, a Sabbath of complete rest to the Lord. Whoever does any work on it shall be put to death. You shall not kindle a fire in any of your dwellings on the Sabbath day." Moses reiterated the commandments, emphasizing the importance of observing the Sabbath as a day of rest and worship. Moses spoke to all the congregation of the sons of Israel, saying, "This is the thing which the Lord has commanded, saying, Take from among you a contribution to the Lord. Whoever is of a willing heart, let him bring it as the Lord's contribution. Gold, silver and bronze and blue, purple and scarlet material, fine linen, goat's hair and ram skins dyed red, and porpoise skins and acacia wood and oil for lighting, spices for the anointing oil and for the fragrant incense and onyx stones, and setting stones for the ephod, and for the breastpiece. Let every skillful man among you come and make all that the Lord has commanded. The tabernacle, its tent and its covering, its hooks and its boards, its bars, its pillars and its sockets, the ark and its poles, the mercy seat and the curtain of the screen, the table and its poles and all its utensils and the bread of the presence, the lampstand also for the light and its utensils and its lamps and the oil for the light, and the altar of incense and its poles and the anointing oil and the fragrant incense, and the screen for the doorway at the entrance of the tabernacle, the altar of burnt offering with its bronze grating, its poles and all its utensils, the basin and its stand, the hangings of the court, its pillars and its sockets, and the screen for the gate of the court, the pegs of the tabernacle, and the pegs of the court and their cords, the woven garments for ministering in the holy place, the holy garments for Aaron the priest, and the garments of his sons to minister as priests. Moses called upon the Israelites to contribute materials and skills for the construction of the tabernacle and its furnishings. Then all the congregation of the sons of Israel departed from Moses' presence. Everyone whose heart stirred him, and everyone whose spirit moved him came and brought the Lord's contribution for the work of the tent of meeting, and for all its service, and for the holy garments. Then all whose hearts moved them, both men and women, came and brought brooches and earrings and signate rings and bracelets, all articles of gold. So did every man who presented an offering of gold to the Lord. Every man who had in his possession blue and purple and scarlet material and fine linen and goat's hair and ram's skins dyed red and porpoise skins brought them. Everyone who could make a contribution of silver and bronze brought the Lord's contribution. And every man who had in his possession acacia wood for any work of the service brought it. All the skilled women spun with their hands and brought what they had spun in blue and purple and scarlet material and in fine linen. All the women whose hearts stirred with the skill spun the goat's hair. The rulers brought the onyx stones and the stones for setting for the ephod and for the breastpiece and the spice and the oil for the light and for the anointing oil and for the fragrant incense. The Israelites, all the men and women whose heart moved them to bring material for all the work which the Lord had commanded through Moses to be done, brought a free will offering to the Lord. The Israelites, moved by a spirit of generosity and repentance, responded wholeheartedly to Moses' call, contributing a wealth of materials and skills for the construction of the tabernacle. Then Moses said to the sons of Israel, "See, the Lord has called by name Bezalel, the son of Uri, the son of Hur of the tribe of Judah, and he has filled him with the Spirit of God in wisdom, in understanding, in knowledge, and in all kinds of craftsmanship, to make designs for working in gold, in silver, and in bronze, and in the cutting of stones for settings, and in the carving of wood, so as to work in all kinds of craftsmanship. And he has put in his heart, both he and Aholiab, the son of Ahisamach of the tribe of Dan, to teach others. He has filled them with skill to perform every work of an engraver, of a designer, and of an embroiderer, in blue and in purple, in scarlet material, and in fine linen, and of a weaver, as performers of every work and makers of designs. He imbued them with the very Spirit of God, granting them profound wisdom, exceptional understanding, and comprehensive knowledge, empowering them with unparalleled craftsmanship to conceive intricate designs. Their hands were guided to manipulate gold, silver, and bronze, transforming them into objects of exquisite beauty. They possessed the skill to cut stones for settings with precision, to carve wood with artistry, allowing them to excel in every imaginative endeavor. He placed within their hearts the desire to impart their knowledge, to teach others the secrets of their crafts. Both Bezalel and Aholiab, the son of Ahisamach, hailing from the tribe of Dan, were destined to share their God-given talents. He filled them with the expertise needed to execute the work of engravers, designers, and embroiderers, skillfully manipulating blue, purple, and scarlet threads, as well as fine linen. They were masters of the loom, creating intricate patterns and designs. Applause! Now, Bezalel, Aholiab, and every skilled artisan blessed by the Lord with ability and understanding to perform the construction of the sanctuary, were commanded to execute every task with absolute precision, adhering strictly to the Lord's divine instructions. Then Moses summoned Bezalel, Aholiab, and every skillful person whom the Lord had inspired with talent, each one whose heart was moved to dedicate themselves to the sacred work. They received from Moses all the offerings which the sons of Israel had so generously contributed for the construction of the sanctuary. Yet, the people's generosity knew no bounds, as they continued to bring free-will offerings every morning. Observing this overwhelming abundance, all the skilled men engaged in the sanctuary's construction ceased their work. They approached Moses with a message. The people are bringing far more than is necessary for the construction that the Lord has commanded us to complete. Hearing this, Moses issued a command, and a proclamation was circulated throughout the camp. Let no man or woman contribute further offerings for the sanctuary. Thus, the people were restrained from bringing any more, for the materials already gathered were sufficient, exceeding what was required for the completion of the work. All the skilled craftsmen involved in the construction fashioned the tabernacle with 10 curtains of fine twisted linen, adorned with blue, purple, and scarlet threads, intricately woven with cherubim, the work of master artisans. Bezalel himself crafted these curtains. The length of each curtain was 28 cubits, and the width of each curtain was 4 cubits, ensuring uniformity in their dimensions. He joined 5 curtains together to form one set, and he joined the other 5 curtains together to form another set. He created loops of blue on the edge of the outermost curtain of the first set, repeating the same on the edge of the outermost curtain of the second set. He crafted 50 loops on one curtain and 50 loops on the corresponding curtain in the second set, ensuring the loops aligned perfectly. He fashioned 50 clasps of gold and joined the curtains together with the clasps, unifying the tabernacle into a single entity. Then, he created curtains of goat hair to serve as a tent over the tabernacle, crafting 11 curtains in all. The length of each curtain was 30 cubits, and the width of each curtain was 4 cubits, maintaining uniform measurements throughout the 11 curtains. He joined 5 curtains together and the remaining 6 curtains together. Furthermore, he added 50 loops to the edge of the outermost curtain in the first set and 50 loops to the edge of the outermost curtain in the second set. He fashioned 50 clasps of bronze to unite the tent, creating a cohesive whole. He created a covering for the tent using ram skins dyed red, and atop this, a covering of porpoise skins. Then, he constructed the boards for the tabernacle using acacia wood, setting them upright. Each board measured 10 cubits in length and 1.5 cubits in width. Each board possessed 2 tenons fitted together, ensuring stability and strength. He meticulously followed this pattern for all the boards of the tabernacle. He crafted the boards for the tabernacle, 20 boards for the south side, and cast 40 sockets of silver to support the 20 boards, providing 2 sockets under each board for its 2 tenons. Likewise, for the second side of the tabernacle, the north side, he crafted 20 boards and 40 sockets of silver, placing 2 sockets under each board. For the rear of the tabernacle, facing west, he crafted 6 boards. He created 2 boards for the corners of the tabernacle at the rear. These boards were doubled beneath and complete to the top, secured by the first ring, replicating the design for both corners. There were 8 boards with their sockets of silver, totaling 16 sockets, 2 under each board. Then he created bars of acacia wood, 5 for the boards on one side of the tabernacle, 5 bars for the boards on the other side, and 5 bars for the boards on the rear side facing west. He fashioned the middle bar to run through the center of the boards, spanning from end to end. He overlaid the boards with gold and crafted their rings of gold to hold the bars, overlaying the bars with gold as well. Moreover, he created the veil using blue, purple, and scarlet threads and fine twisted linen, weaving it with cherubim, the work of a skilled artisan. He made 4 pillars of acacia wood for the veil, overlaying them with gold, and creating hooks of gold. He cast 4 sockets of silver to support them. He crafted a screen for the doorway of the tent using blue, purple, and scarlet threads and fine twisted linen, the work of a weaver. He fashioned its 5 pillars with their hooks and overlaid their tops and bands with gold, while their 5 sockets were made of bronze. Now, Bezalel fashioned the ark of acacia wood. Its length measured 2.5 cubits, its width 1.5 cubits, and its height 1.5 cubits. He overlaid it with pure gold, both inside and out, and crafted a gold molding around it. He cast 4 rings of gold for it, attaching them to its 4 feet, 2 rings on one side and 2 rings on the other side. He made poles of acacia wood and overlaid them with gold. He inserted the poles into the rings on the sides of the ark to facilitate carrying it. He created a mercy seat of pure gold, 2.5 cubits long and 1.5 cubits wide. 1 cherub was placed at one end and 1 cherub at the other end. He fashioned the cherubim as a single piece with the mercy seat, positioning them at the 2 ends. The cherubim had their wings spread upward, covering the mercy seat with their wings, their faces turned toward each other, facing the mercy seat. Then he constructed the table of acacia wood, 2 cubits long, 1 cubit wide, and 1.5 cubits high. He overlaid it with pure gold and crafted a gold molding around it. He fashioned a rim around it, measuring a handbreadth, and created a gold molding for the rim. He cast 4 gold rings for it, placing them on the 4 corners on its 4 feet. The rings, serving as holders for the poles to carry the table, were positioned close to the rim. He created the poles of acacia wood and overlaid them with gold to carry the table. He crafted the utensils for the table, its dishes, pans, bowls, and jars used for pouring out drink offerings, all of pure gold. Then he created the lampstand of pure gold. He made the lampstand of hammered work, its base and shaft, its cups, bulbs, and flowers forming a single piece. 6 branches extended from its sides, 3 branches from one side and 3 branches from the other side. Each branch featured 3 cups shaped like almond blossoms, a bulb, and a flower. This pattern was replicated for all 6 branches extending from the lampstand. The lampstand itself featured 4 cups shaped like almond blossoms, complete with bulbs and flowers. A bulb was positioned under the first pair of branches, another under the second pair, and a third under the third pair, supporting the 6 branches extending from the lampstand. Their bulbs and branches were seamlessly integrated, forming a single, hammered piece of pure gold. He fashioned its 7 lamps with their snuffers and trays, all of pure gold. He crafted the lampstand and all its utensils from a talent of pure gold. Then he built the altar of incense using acacia wood, 1 cubit long, 1 cubit wide, square, and 2 cubits high. Its horns were seamlessly integrated. He overlaid it with pure gold, its top, sides, and horns. He crafted a gold molding around it. He fashioned 2 golden rings for it, positioning them under the molding on opposite sides, serving as holders for poles used to carry it. He created the poles of acacia wood and overlaid them with gold. And he crafted the holy anointing oil and the pure, fragrant incense of spices, the work of a perfumer. Then he built the altar of burnt offering using acacia wood, 5 cubits long, 5 cubits wide, square and 3 cubits high. He fashioned its horns on its 4 corners, seamlessly integrating them, and overlaid it with bronze. He crafted all the utensils for the altar, including pails, shovels, basins, flesh hooks, and fire pans, all of bronze. He created a grating of bronze network beneath the altar, extending halfway up from the ledge. He cast 4 rings on the 4 ends of the bronze grating, serving as holders for the poles. He created the poles of acacia wood and overlaid them with bronze. He inserted the poles into the rings on the sides of the altar to carry it, constructing it hollow with planks. Moreover, he created the laver of bronze, complete with its base, using bronze sourced from the mirrors of the serving women who ministered at the doorway of the tent of meeting. Then he constructed the court for the south side. The hangings of the court were made of fine, twisted linen, measuring 100 cubits in length. There were 20 pillars and 20 sockets made of bronze. The hooks of the pillars and their bands were of silver. For the north side, there were also hangings of 100 cubits, with 20 pillars and 20 sockets of bronze. The hooks of the pillars and their bands were of silver. For the west side, there were hangings of 50 cubits, supported by 10 pillars and 10 sockets. The hooks of the pillars and their bands were of silver. For the east side, measuring 50 cubits, the hangings for one side of the gate were 15 cubits in length, supported by 3 pillars and 3 sockets. Similarly, for the other side, on both sides of the gate, there were hangings of 15 cubits, supported by 3 pillars and 3 sockets. All the hangings of the court, surrounding the entire area, were made of fine twisted linen. The sockets for the pillars were of bronze, the hooks of the pillars and their bands were of silver, and the overlaying of their tops was also of silver. All the pillars of the court were furnished with silver bands. The screen for the gate of the court, crafted by a weaver, featured blue, purple, and scarlet threads, and fine twisted linen. Its length was 20 cubits, and its height was 5 cubits, corresponding to the hangings of the court. It was supported by 4 pillars and 4 sockets of bronze. Their hooks were of silver, and the overlaying of their tops and their bands was also of silver. All the pegs of the tabernacle and the court were of bronze. This is the inventory of materials used for the tabernacle of the testimony, as counted under the direction of Moses, for the service of the Levites, supervised by Ithamar, the son of Aaron the priest. Now Bezalel, the son of Uri, the son of Hur of the tribe of Judah, made everything that the Lord commanded Moses. With him was Oholiab, the son of Ahisamach, from the tribe of Dan, a skilled engraver, craftsman, and weaver, proficient in blue, purple, and scarlet threads, and fine linen. All the gold used for the construction of the sanctuary, including the gold of the wave offering, amounted to 29 talents and 730 shekels, measured according to the sanctuary shekel. The silver collected from those of the congregation who were numbered amounted to 100 talents and 1,775 shekels, measured according to the sanctuary shekel. A beka, that is half a shekel, was collected from each person counted, those 20 years old and older, totaling 603,550 men. The 100 talents of silver were used to cast the sockets for the sanctuary and the sockets for the veil, allocating 1 talent for each socket. From the 1,775 shekels, hooks were fashioned for the pillars, their tops were overlaid, and bands were created for them. The bronze of the wave offering weighed 70 talents and 12,400 shekels. With this bronze, the sockets for the doorway of the tent of meeting, the bronze altar, its bronze grating, all the altar's utensils, the sockets for the court, the sockets for the gate, all the pegs for the tabernacle, and all the pegs for the court were crafted. Applause! Moreover, from the blue, purple, and scarlet threads, finely woven garments were made for ministering in the holy place, as well as the sacred garments specifically for Aaron. Just as the Lord had commanded Moses, the ephod was fashioned from gold, blue, purple, and scarlet threads, and fine twisted linen. Gold sheets were hammered out and cut into threads to be woven into the blue, purple, and scarlet fabrics and the fine linen, the work of a skilled artisan. Attaching shoulder pieces were made for the ephod, secured at its 2 upper ends. The skillfully woven band on it matched its workmanship, incorporating the same materials: gold, blue, purple, scarlet threads, and fine twisted linen, precisely as the Lord had commanded Moses. Onyx stones, set in gold filigree settings, were crafted. They were engraved with the names of the sons of Israel, resembling the engravings of a signet. These stones were placed on the shoulder pieces of the ephod, serving as memorial stones for the sons of Israel, just as the Lord had commanded Moses. The breastpiece, the work of a skilled artisan, mirrored the workmanship of the ephod, utilizing gold, blue, purple, and scarlet threads, and fine twisted linen. It was square, made double, with a span's length and a span's width when folded double. 4 rows of stones were mounted on it. The first row contained a ruby, a topaz, and an emerald. The second row featured a turquoise, a sapphire, and a diamond. The third row showcased a jacinth, an agate, and an amethyst. The fourth row displayed a beryl, an onyx, and a jasper. These stones, corresponding to the names of the sons of Israel, were set in gold filigree settings, each engraved with its respective name, representing the 12 tribes. Chains, resembling cords of twisted cordage work in pure gold, were made for the breastpiece. 2 gold filigree settings and 2 gold rings were created, and the 2 rings were attached to the 2 ends of the breastpiece. The 2 gold cords were then inserted into the 2 rings at the ends of the breastpiece. The other 2 ends of the 2 cords were attached to the 2 filigree settings and secured to the shoulder pieces of the ephod at the front. 2 gold rings were fashioned and placed on the 2 ends of the breastpiece, on its inner edge, closest to the ephod. Furthermore, 2 gold rings were made and placed on the bottom of the 2 shoulder pieces of the ephod, on its front, near where it joined above the woven band of the ephod. The breastpiece was bound to the rings of the ephod with a blue cord, ensuring it remained on the woven band of the ephod and did not come loose from the ephod, precisely as the Lord had commanded Moses. Then, the robe of the ephod was crafted from woven work, entirely of blue. An opening was made at the top in the center, like the opening of a coat of mail, with a binding around its opening to prevent tearing. Pomegranates of blue, purple, and scarlet threads, and twisted linen were made for the hem of the robe. Bells of pure gold were also created and placed between the pomegranates all around the hem of the robe, alternating between a bell and a pomegranate, as the Lord had commanded Moses. Tunics of finely woven linen were made for Aaron and his sons, along with a turban of fine linen, decorated caps of fine linen, and linen undergarments of fine twisted linen. A sash of fine twisted linen, incorporating blue, purple, and scarlet threads, was also crafted, the work of a weaver, precisely as the Lord had commanded Moses. The plate of the holy crown, made of pure gold, was inscribed with the words "Holy to the Lord," resembling the engravings of a signet. A blue cord was fastened to it, securing it to the turban, just as the Lord had commanded Moses. Thus, all the work of the tabernacle, the tent of meeting, was completed. The sons of Israel did everything according to the Lord's commands to Moses. They brought the tabernacle to Moses, the tent and all its furnishings, its clasps, boards, bars, pillars, and sockets. They also brought the covering of ram skins dyed red, the covering of porpoise skins, and the screening veil, the ark of the testimony and its poles, and the mercy seat. The table, all its utensils, and the bread of the presence were presented, along with the pure gold lampstand, its arrangement of lamps, all its utensils, and the oil for the light. The gold altar, the anointing oil, the fragrant incense, and the veil for the doorway of the tent were also brought. The bronze altar, its bronze grating, its poles, all its utensils, the laver, its stand, the hangings for the court, its pillars, its sockets, the screen for the gate of the court, its cords, its pegs, and all the equipment for the service of the tabernacle, the tent of meeting, and the woven garments, ministering in the holy place, and the holy garments for Aaron the priest and the garments of his sons to minister as priests. So the sons of Israel did all the work according to all that the Lord had commanded Moses. And Moses examined all the work, and behold, they had done it, just as the Lord had commanded. This they had done. So Moses blessed them. Applause. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, On the first day of the first month, You shall set up the tabernacle of the tent of meeting. You shall place the ark of the testimony there, and you shall screen the ark with the veil. You shall bring in the table and arrange what belongs on it. And you shall bring in the lampstand and mount its lamps. Moreover, you shall set the gold altar of incense before the ark of the testimony, and set up the veil for the doorway to the tabernacle. You shall set the altar of burnt offering in front of the doorway of the tabernacle of the tent of meeting. You shall set the laver between the tent of meeting and the altar and put water in it. You shall set up the court all around and hang up the veil for the gateway of the court. Then you shall take the anointing oil and anoint the tabernacle and all that is in it, and shall consecrate it and all its furnishings, and it shall be holy. You shall anoint the altar of burnt offering and all its utensils, and consecrate the altar, and the altar shall be most holy. You shall anoint the laver and its stand, and consecrate it. Then you shall bring Aaron and his sons to the doorway of the tent of meeting and wash them with water. You shall put the holy garments on Aaron and anoint him and consecrate him that he may minister as a priest to me. You shall bring his sons and put tunics on them. And you shall anoint them even as you have anointed their father that they may minister as priests to me. And their anointing will qualify them for a perpetual priesthood throughout their generations. Thus Moses did according to all that the Lord had commanded him. So he did. Now in the first month of the second year, on the first day of the month, the tabernacle was erected. Moses erected the tabernacle and laid its sockets and set up its boards and inserted its bars and erected its pillars. He spread the tent over the tabernacle and put the covering of the tent on top of it just as the Lord had commanded Moses. Then he took the testimony and put it into the ark and attached the poles to the ark and put the mercy seat on top of the ark. He brought the ark into the tabernacle and set up a veil for the screen and screened off the ark of the testimony, just as the Lord had commanded Moses. Then he put the table in the tent of meeting on the north side of the tabernacle outside the veil. He set the arrangement of bread in order on it before the Lord just as the Lord had commanded Moses. Then he placed the lampstand in the tent of meeting opposite the table on the south side of the tabernacle. He lighted the lamps before the Lord just as the Lord had commanded Moses. Then he placed the gold altar in the tent of meeting in front of the veil. And he burned fragrant incense on it just as the Lord had commanded Moses. Then he set up the veil for the doorway of the tabernacle. He set the altar of burnt offering before the doorway of the tabernacle of the tent of meeting and offered on it the burnt offering and the meal offering just as the Lord had commanded Moses. He placed the laver between the tent of meeting and the altar and put water in it for washing. From it, Moses and Aaron and his sons washed their hands and their feet. When they entered the tent of meeting, and when they approached the altar, they washed just as the Lord had commanded Moses. He erected the court all around the tabernacle and the altar and hung up the veil for the gateway of the court. Thus Moses finished the work. Then the cloud covered the tent of meeting and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. Moses was not able to enter the tent of meeting because the cloud had settled on him and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle throughout all their journeys. Whenever the cloud was taken up from over the tabernacle, the sons of Israel would set out. But if the cloud was not taken up, then they did not set out until the day when it was taken up. For throughout all their journeys, the cloud of the Lord was on the tabernacle by day, and there was fire in it by night, in the sight of all the house of Israel. Thank you for watching Exodus. Your time, heart, and support mean the world. May the journey of freedom and faith continue in ministering within the sacred enclosure, attending to every divine requirement, and clothed in the holy garments meticulously crafted for Aaron, the high priest, and his sons, destined to serve as priests. The children of Israel, fueled by unwavering dedication, meticulously carried out all the work precisely as the Lord had commanded Moses. Moses, a figure of unwavering authority, carefully surveyed every element, every joining, every detail. He scrutinized the handiwork, ensuring that not a single thread was out of place, not a single measurement off. His keen gaze fell upon the finished product, and he was filled with a profound sense of awe and gratitude. With each perfectly executed piece, He saw reflected the unwavering faith and skillful dedication of the Israelite artisans. He knew that this tabernacle was not merely a physical structure, but a testament to their devotion, a sacred space where they would commune with the divine. Behold, they had accomplished it all, exactly as the Lord had instructed. Each measurement, each fitting, each piece of embroidery meticulously replicated from the divine blueprint. Filled with joy and gratitude, Moses raised his hands towards the people. In a voice resonant with divine authority and paternal affection, Moses bestowed his blessings upon them. His words, carried on the desert wind, spoke of divine favor, prosperity, and lasting peace. Applause! A joyous symphony of music erupted, filling the air with triumphant melodies that echoed through the vast wilderness. As the final notes faded, the assembled Israelites erupted in thunderous applause, their hearts overflowing with gratitude and reverence. Then, in a moment that silenced the jubilant crowd, the Lord spoke to Moses, his voice resonating with the power and majesty of the divine. On the first day of the first month, the Lord declared, "You shall erect the tabernacle, the tent of meeting, in its designated place. Within its sacred confines," the Lord continued, "you shall place the ark of the testimony, the vessel of my divine covenant. And you shall shield the ark with the sacred veil, separating the holy from the most holy. Bring forth the table and arrange upon it all that it requires," the Lord instructed. "Set the showbread in its ordained arrangement. Then, bring in the lampstand and mount its lamps, so that its radiant glow may illuminate the sacred space. Furthermore," the Lord commanded, "you shall place the golden altar of incense before the ark of the testimony, where its fragrant smoke will rise as a perpetual offering. And you shall erect the veil at the entrance to the tabernacle, marking the boundary between the sacred and the profane. Place the altar of burnt offering before the entrance to the tabernacle, the tent of meeting," the Lord instructed, "and set the laver between the tent of meeting and the altar, filling it with water for purification. Erect the courtyard around the tabernacle, and hang the veil at the gateway of the courtyard, marking the sacred boundary," the Lord continued. "Then, take the anointing oil and anoint the tabernacle and all that is within it. Consecrate it and all its furnishings, so that it shall be forever holy. Anoint the altar of burnt offering and all its utensils," the Lord proclaimed, "and consecrate the altar, making it most holy. Anoint the laver and its stand, and consecrate it for its sacred purpose. Bring Aaron and his sons to the entrance of the tent of meeting, and wash them with water," the Lord commanded. "Clothe Aaron in the holy garments, anoint him and consecrate him, so that he may minister as a priest to me. Bring his sons and clothe them in tunics, anointing them as you have anointed their father, so that they may serve as priests to me. Their anointing will qualify them for a perpetual priesthood throughout their generations." Moses, unwavering in his obedience, carried out all the commands of the Lord with meticulous precision. He did exactly as he was instructed. In the first month of the second year, on the first day of the month, the tabernacle was erected. With his own hands, Moses raised the sacred structure, laying its sockets, setting up its boards, inserting its bars, and erecting its pillars. Each action was performed with reverence and care, fueled by his profound devotion to the Lord. He spread the tent over the tabernacle and placed the covering of the tent on top, exactly as the Lord had commanded him. Then Moses retrieved the testimony, placing it within the arkansas. He carefully attached the poles to the ark and placed the mercy seat on top. He brought the ark into the tabernacle, setting up the veil as a screen to separate the ark of the testimony from the rest of the sacred space, precisely as the Lord had commanded him. He positioned the table in the tent of meeting on the north side of the tabernacle, outside the veil. He meticulously arranged the bread in order upon it before the Lord, exactly as the Lord had instructed. He then placed the lampstand in the tent of meeting, opposite the table on the south side of the tabernacle. He lit the lamps before the Lord, their radiant glow illuminating the sacred space, just as the Lord had commanded him. Moses then placed the golden altar in the tent of meeting, in front of the veil. He burned fragrant incense upon it, its sweet aroma ascending to the heavens, precisely as the Lord had commanded him. He set up the veil for the doorway of the tabernacle. He positioned the altar of burnt offering before the entrance to the tabernacle, the tent of meeting, and offered upon it the burnt offering and the meal offering, just as the Lord had commanded him. He placed the laver between the tent of meeting and the altar, filling it with water for the sacred ritual of purification. From this laver, Moses, Aaron, and his sons washed their hands and their feet, purifying themselves before entering the sacred space. Whenever they entered the tent of meeting, and whenever they approached the altar, they washed, as the Lord had commanded Moses. He erected the courtyard all around the tabernacle and the altar, and hung up the veil for the gateway of the courtyard, marking the sacred boundary. Thus Moses completed the work. Then, a profound and awe-inspiring event occurred. The cloud descended and covered the tent of meeting, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle with its radiant presence. Moses, overwhelmed by the divine glory, was unable to enter the tent of meeting because the cloud had settled upon it, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. Throughout all their journeys, whenever the cloud was lifted from over the tabernacle, the children of Israel would break camp and set out on their journey. But if the cloud remained, they would not depart until the day it was lifted. For throughout all their journeys, the cloud of the Lord rested upon the tabernacle by day, and a pillar of fire illuminated it by night, visible to all the house of Israel. It was a constant reminder of the Lord's presence and guidance, a beacon of hope in the vast wilderness. Thank you for watching Exodus. Your time, heart, and support mean the world to us. May the journey of freedom and faith continue to inspire you.